Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're back. Cali Death Fest. Cali Death Fest. Cali
Start
Death
this over,
Podcast. Yeah, dude, let's just leave it in. Fuck it.
right.
We've been to Cali Death Fest before. They know what's up. Cali Death Podcast, episode 5. Yeah, it's close enough. Maybe we'll do a collab with them in the future when we can fucking do shows again. There you go. Episode 5, right? Yeah, 5. We got Arkaik in with us. By the way, I'm Anthony Trapani. Got my resident homies, Casey Howard, Joseph K, and Joel Horner. I was going to try and come up with a different reason why you're here this week, but I didn't have fucking time. I was going to say something like, still waiting for an opening at the San Francisco Zoo in the ape department, something like that.
I'm glad you didn't go with that.
No, that's why I didn't, but I'm still putting it on the podcast now. All right, so today we got Arkaik with us. We got Jared and Chance, two old school homies, toured with you guys. I was gonna say the first memory, I don't know if Joel was with me, I don't know if Casey was with me in that parking lot, but LA Metal Fest, you guys were out in the parking lot. Chance, were you with Jared that day too? Was it both of you guys that I had met? Because I thought I only met two of you guys.
Was it what
LA Metal Fest? What year was that, guys?
Who headlined
I think
that?
it was like 2007 or 2006.
It was a year that we played with Faceless. Yeah.
Was it Murder Fest? Or
I think it was at the Galaxy in Santa Ana.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think it was just called LA Metal Fest at the time.
Yeah, the first time I remember was the Deeds of Flesh shows. Deeds of Flesh, us, and that Nuclear Blast band. I forget their name. But anyways, that's where I met Jared, and I think I met Obi too that night too from Inherent Disease. But I'm pretty sure you guys were there. I don't know. We're making shit up now. I don't even know. Like,
no,
exactly
is that Showcase? Are you talking about Showcase?
No, it was at some random place in LA.
Okay, well, no, I remember Odious did a show. Or did a fest down in LA one time. It was just a one-off thing, and we were coming out, and we saw these couple young dudes sitting next to their car, passing out their demos, and it was an Arkaik demo. What was that called again?
Pure Sonic Brutality. I don't know.
No. The one you guys did the.
Was it the full, like the 9-song?
Yeah, I call it a demo, but really it was like a full length. Yeah.
Existential Chaos.
Yeah, I still got it, dude.
Then that was probably that. We made that in like what 2008 or so.
Okay. All right,
so that show. Was that when you guys? That was the first time we met Ivan, because we hung out with you guys at a Galaxy Theater show.
That's it.
That would be it then.
Yeah, Ivan was playing with us at the time, I think.
Yeah.
Santa Ana. Yeah.
So that was the first time you met Ivan too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was that our last show that we've done live?
I don't know, or the Maryland Death Fest.
No,
that was definitely
stuff after that.
I think the Galaxy was after Maryland. That's trippy.
Was it? Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, I can't remember. We only did like a couple shows after Cryptic.
All right.
So when we met you guys, that was
when we met. Yeah. So when I met you guys at that time, you guys had already did a demo or two before that release too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we probably did like 3 or 4 demos.
How old were you guys at that time?
I don't know. I'm not good at math.
2005, I was 18. So 2008, I was like 21, 22.
Oh, okay. So you guys aren't that much younger than us.
Yeah, no. I just turned 33, so like.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm
36, so we only got 3-year difference. Cool, dude. So what we've been doing with all these episodes, is showcasing all the California death metal bands that we've connected with and had long-lasting relationships. Obviously, this one being these two relationships with everybody. This has been a long-lasting one as well. And take it back to the beginning, dude. Let's whoever wants to go first. Let's see where you guys decided I want to be involved in music and how the path went from there.
Yeah, dude. Well, first of all, I got to say, like, the 10-year ago me, or like the me that met you guys back then, would probably be freaking out to be like on a podcast with like guys from Decrepit Birth and Odious Mortem. Like you guys were the bands that we looked up to, and you guys were like the Cali death metal bands. So like, yeah, it's cool. It's cool just like, you know, now being on a podcast with you, and we've toured together, and like
I really
all
like
you guys
the
were
full
like
circle aspect of that too.
yeah, like me and Chance really looked up to you guys' band. So
and when we heard that was super cool, dude. I mean, it still feels really good to hear that when anybody says that, but to see like guys like you who really like built something up from the inspiration that you got from us and other people and all that kind of shit, you know, it just really
amazing.
Yeah, totally, dude.
Yeah.
And they're still going.
Makes you feel really good.
Still going hard.
Harder than we are, you know.
Yeah, way harder. Yeah.
But that was a big night when we met you guys, because like I was super into Gestation of Worms, and I was like really into all the Unique Leaders stuff. And like, you know, And Time Begins was like the toppest tier gnar shit. And then we went to see, I forgot who we went to see, and you guys opened up, and you guys like weren't that much older than us, you know. And I think I had seen you guys a few times, definitely before the Galaxy show. But no, I would see you guys and be like, dude, fucking, we could do this. Like, you know, like Unique Leader was like, you know, like
the Holy Grail.
Grail, yeah. But like, man, like those guys like can do it. Like we could do it too, you know. So when we met you that night too, I remember we were picking your brains. Like, how'd you guys get signed? Like, what'd you guys do? And you guys were like,
it's the same thing for us too. And I mean, Unique Leader was the same way for us as well. We looked at Unique Leader like that's the way you're supposed to do it. That's where you want to be in this genre, you know, and the way that they're doing it, it's the way that you should be doing it. And it's like when you were just saying we're only a little bit older, it is kind of weird that we're like Odious is like in this weird like in between generation almost, you know. And but yeah, this isn't about, why am I talking about Odious again, dude? This isn't.
Well, I was throwing it back to you guys, and just like,
I know.
Young me would be like, whoa, this is crazy.
Well, dude, that's awesome, dude. And we're really fucking happy to have you on, dude, because you guys, I mean, I've spent almost a month out on the road with you guys. We've hung out, you know, more than a handful of times after that. And obviously now we're here today. Like, you guys are part of our first handful of episodes for a reason. That's what we're trying to say, you know. So it's right back at you, dude. It's right back at you.
Yeah,
totally. How did you and Chance connect?
I mean, well, okay, yeah, me and Chance go way back. The first time I remember meeting Chance was like I was in 6th grade and he was in 7th grade. And I just got to middle school, and it was like the first day of PE, or like the first day that we actually like went out and did anything. And we were playing kickball, and I just remember like first memory of Chance. He's just like kicks the ball hard as fuck, then runs around the bases like super fast, and then right when he gets to the home base, he like kind of stops a little bit, and then he jumps and does a front flip and like lands on his back and slides onto to the home base, and the PE teacher is like, Strickland, like right away. And I was like,
that sounds like a name that a PE teacher would want to yell. Strickland.
Yeah. So we met in middle school, and like just started talking, and I'm like, oh yeah, I play guitar. And he's like, yeah, I play guitar too. And like I was into like punk and like Blink-182, and like it was middle school, so I was like, you know, not really listening to I was into like Pennywise and kind of like that Warped Tour like punk scene, because my my older cousin got me into it, showed me like what a mosh pit was, and like punk music and stuff. And I was like, this is cool. Like, I want to get a guitar. Well, I had a guitar. I started playing guitar like in elementary school, I guess, if you want. Like, I got lessons and like learned how to play a chord or two. But then in middle school, I met Chance, and we just started hanging out because we lived like a few streets down from each other. So I'd bring my guitar over, and he would show me his like cooler metal guitars. And I'd be like, whoa, what's that? Like,
I remember at the bus stop, I heard him saying like, yeah, I think I want to get like a Fender Jazzmaster. And I was like pigeon ear, and I'm like, oh, this kid plays guitar. All right. Like every friend I've ever made, it's always been like through music of some sort, like, oh, you like the same bands or whatever. But I was like, I was like, okay, cool. You're going to get a guitar. And then we ended up becoming friends. And then I convinced him to get a 7-string, because I was like, all into Korn and Limp Bizkit, and he was like, I think I want to get a Fender Jazz Master, and I was like, you don't want that fucking guitar, dude. You want to get a 7 string, dude. They're heavy.
Yeah.
And yeah, he would come over to my house, and I'd show him like riffs. Like I was at that point I was all into like Korn and Deftones and Tool and like Limp Bizkit. Those were like my big 4. And I would show him like how to play Stinkfist, you know, like dong dong bang dong dong bang, and I'd make him mixtapes like all the time, because like I had like the boombox that you could record onto the tape thing from the CD. Perfect. And like I was always just like slanging mixtapes to all my friends. So I was like, all right, you're gonna get a 7-string guitar and you're gonna start listening to this kind of music because this is the cool shit. And so like I started making them mixtapes of like all the shit that I was into, like Deftones and Tool and Limp Bizkit and Korn. And yeah, and we just started hanging out and fucking jamming around on our little fucking combo amps. Like I'd bring mine to his house and we'd jump around doing like the West Borland hop. And then like he'd bring his to my house. And we would just mess around, and
we'd like put on Blind and then like pretend to play it and like
yeah. We would watch the Korn.
We're like, we're not ready, but he's like, oh,
are you ready? Yeah.
And then we would just be like, who could do the sickest like monkey bounce or like West Berlin?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, whack each other in the head with our headsocks and shit like that.
What was that whole beginning of Life is Peachy?
That twist.
Intro?
Oh,
what was that? Twist. Yeah. Remember when that was like the
I first
thing?
heard that.
Like,
That blew my mind.
That came out. I was like in junior
Like
high.
that metal scat. You're like,
it was like,
yeah, but the
we
buildup
like,
is so weak, dude. And then all of a sudden, like, twist. Twist.
Yeah.
There was that juxtaposition, you know, between like metal scat and then like, you know, sex appeal or something.
Yeah.
Bagpipes in there.
Bagpipes, yeah.
Bakersfield sex appeal, bro.
Oh, that sounds like that, dude. That's a podcast.
We should get Korn on here.
Bakersfield sex appeal.
Yeah.
I'm Matt, and this is my co-host.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Or that could be a local band.
Yeah.
That's good enough to be a local band.
Anthony, I think we should cover Twist. Like,
Twist. Yeah, dude. Bakersfield.
Okay,
sex
I think
appeal,
pretty
dude.
much Anthony has to do all the work. We could go dun dun dun.
we don't really do anything.
That's not bad.
Korn cover band.
Work.
So to put this on the map, we've had, you know, Deeds kind of by themselves in Los Osos, and Decrepit in Santa Cruz, Severed in the Bay, and Diego and Discourage down in San Diego. So you guys are in Inland Empire when you're meeting, right? Like Riverside County.
Riverside County, yeah. A little gated community called Canyon Lake, like in the middle. We were like an hour and 10 minutes north. It was kind of a sick place to grow up because we were like music-wise, because we were an hour and 10 minutes north of San Diego, an hour and 10 minutes south of LA, and then Orange County was like 45 minutes over the Ortega Mountains or, you know, up the freeway. So so we did our middle school thing, and then I ended up going to high school, and like he was in 8th grade, and so we kind of like didn't hang out very much for like a whole year, and then he gets into high school, and I'm like a sophomore, and he's a freshman, and we like reconnect, and you know, he still has his 7-string, and at this point, like in like 8th grade, and then like in 9th grade, I had moved from like nu metal, you know, to like Pantera, then Machine Head and Sepultura, and then like my other best friend's big brother was like a total like metal audiophile. Like was it like on Napster? As soon as you could get on Napster, he would have stacks of like burnt CDs, and then he would get those Metal Blade and all the other catalogs, the Nuclear Blast catalogs, and then he would just have stacks of CDs because he worked at a pizza place. So you know, he was probably like, when we were like 11 or 12, he was probably 17 or 18, but he had all this disposable income, and he would have these stacks of fucking death metal CDs that were the craziest shit, and these big speakers. So me and my buddy would go play video games in this room while we fucking listening to like Morbid Angel. And like the first time I ever heard To Dream of from Black Seeds of Vengeance, that blew my mind. And I remember the first time, like, I was listening to something I wasn't too into, and then all of a sudden the CD changed. He had this like 50 disc CD changer, so it would stop and do the and there'd be that silence where we're playing video games when no one was going to come on next. And Winds of Creation started, and he had these big KLH speakers with like these 15s, and it was just like, and that shit fucking blew my mind. So I was into death metal at this point, and Jared gets into high school, and I was like, dude, he's like, I'm like, death metal, man, you got to start listening to death metal. And Jared's like, huh? And, you know? And,
I think everybody, for the first time they listened to like death metal, like they're kind of like, it's not like they're gonna immediately like, oh, this is the best shit ever. Like you have to build a taste for it. Like, and especially when you're younger and like, maybe, I don't know, it was kind of different back then because there wasn't like infinite streams of music like shoved in your face all the time. Like, you know, it was like you kind of had to discover stuff in CD format. And so you like listen to this and you're like at first I wasn't really a huge fan of the vocals. I was like, the music's cool, but like, I don't know, like those vocals, like doesn't even sound like anything, you know? And and then
what they're saying.
And it was like Nile and Dying Fetus that like I was first introduced to for like the brutal death metal, and they've got the gnarliest like brutal death metal vocals. And but then like I found Suffocation and like some other death metal band or Opeth, you know, where their vocalists are a little bit more I don't know, like more, you can
Opeth Opeth kind of eases you into the growling because it's got the singing too, so you can kind of catch on. You can find the catchiness in the singing, and then you're like, well, then the growl kind of works there. It kind of works. So it slowly like gets you.
Didn't really have the burpy vocals, Suffocation's vocals. They were like really brutal, but like they had like texture. It wasn't like, you know, on like Destroy the Opposition or what's the Dying Fetus album that has like Pissing in the Mainstream on it, like
Destroying the Opposition.
Yeah, just like, you know, there's parts on there it really sounds like he's burping. Like, you know, like for a while you'd be like, oh, you listen to death metal? I'm like, no, I don't like that burp metal shit. So or you listen to like old Cryptopsy and like Lord Worm is just not even giving a fuck over the whole album. Like you know, like,
That's what I love about it too.
Now I love it so much, but like when the first time I heard None So Vile, I was like, whoa, like the drummer is sick, but the vocalist, I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah. Like, there were some parts on None So Vile where like, dude, he screams for like a minute and 30 seconds. You're like, that's sick.
He eats worms. He eats worms live too. We got to see him live at the Pound, dude. And he really eats worms, and he's an old man.
He was trying to feed me a worm, and I was like, nope. Not happening.
we got to play with them. Decrepit played with them like at one of those last shows before, like with Lord Worm.
Yep, I was definitely there. That was amazing.
He was feeding worms to the fans, dude.
Lord Worm, out of like a goblet kind of thing.
Yep.
I remember that. Like he came back because they had Mike DeSalvo for like the
and then you'll beg. Yeah.
I really like that too. Like that, like the first bands when I started getting into death metal, my you know, I was like in 8th grade. And so I went to first, like his big brother would be like, don't touch my shit. Don't come in my room. And we were like, oh, but we'd skip school because he was at college or whatever. And we'd sneak into his room and we'd like, okay. And we'd pick CDs and like by band names and album covers. And then we'd sneak into Mason's room, my buddy, and we would just listen to those albums. And we're like, oh, we got to put them back perfectly. And we would write down the one we'd want to check out. And then we'd put them back. And then we'd go ask him like, hey, have you ever heard of this band? And he's like, yeah, because he would give us those catalogs and be like, you can read these catalogs, I'm done. So we'd go and act like we, you know, hadn't been in his room, like, hey, have you heard of this band and this album? We read about it, like, could you show it to us? And he'd be like, yeah, that's a fucking sick album. And then he'd be like, well, can you burn it for us? And be like, yeah. We would, that's what we'd do. We'd sneak into his room. And so I remember the first time I got into death metal, I was like, hey, can you give me all the stuff that's like not satanic? Because it's like, that's scary. So he's like, all right, here's Destroy the Opposition because it's political. Here's Opeth, you know. And what else did he give me? He gave me None So Vile because he's like, it's not satanic, it's just weird. And those were like the 3 albums that were, and Nile, and I was super into Nile. Nile had the whole Egyptian like Mythos. And I was like, that's dope. And they had Nile was my first favorite death metal band because not only did they have the Egyptian thing, but they had the vibe musically. Like, this is cool. Like I would listen to death metal, my mom would come in my room and be like, what is this, you know? But I would have Nile on it and she'd be like, all right, that's kind of neat. And then it'd be like, and she'd be like, all right, never mind. Right. But like, you know, the only thing like I listened to without like weirding out everyone else in my house, you know, when I'd be bumping my tunes.
Were you like reading the liner notes of the Nile albums and like nerding out on it? Same here. Yeah. I was just
did his research,
obsessed.
Man. Like every song was just
and like Carl has like the explanation next to the lyrics. It was just something to nerd out to for sure.
Yeah, it was cool. There was a lot to get into. And then once you kind of get an ear for it, and like after a while, I kind of didn't give a shit what the lyrical themes were, because I was like, I like the music. Like a lot of the stuff that they're singing about, even if they're not satanic, it's still kind of goofy. So like, I can't really understand what they're saying. So I'm just gonna because the music's dope, and I don't mind the vocals anymore. So then like Suffocation was the next band that like, I never really got into Cannibal Corpse until after the fact, because Suffocation does the gore like murder shit, but they didn't do it in a corny way. It was like fucking like pissed, yeah, and like, like those like his vocals were fucking brutal. They sounded like they actually sounded sick.
He sounded because Frank had like a yell to his vocals, like it was less burping, more like yelling. And it was like pissed kind of yelling, and it was like in like could be wrong, but it sounded like in key with the music. Like it really blended along with whatever like notes they were playing with guitar. So it was this huge wall of sound.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, I can't explain how, but I hear what you're saying, and Gilbert has mentioned that to me too. He's like, Frank actually growls in key.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so appealing to hear Frank do it.
Yeah, interesting idea. Yeah, dude, totally. Just to like add, for like Pierce from Within,
Yeah,
like that for like everyone is kind of like the the golden egg like album and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that, like vocally, like what you're talking about for sure. Like I was kind of like, when I first heard death metal, like I heard like even like Effigy and other stuff, and I was like, cool, man, it's crazy, but it just sounded so like intense for me, like when I wasn't used to it yet, and I was like used to Tool and stuff, like and singing and stuff. And then like when I heard Pierce from Within, I was just like, all right, dude, I'm sold, like completely. Like that's all right. That's you totally.
Yeah, Effigy kind of had the sound quality that didn't really catch me.
That, but the vocals
Pierce
too,
had,
though,
Yeah.
Like even though it's so, I mean, I love it's like one of the best albums ever.
I've always loved
style,
dirty productions though, and my first song by Suffo was it what's the one that they redid for Effigy, but it was on Human Waste.
Oh, that one,
yeah. Well, so I heard that on a Relapse compilation, dude, and it was the Human Waste version, and it was just so dirty, but it was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
The other thing about Suffo shit too was there's like iconic vocal moments, like God,
yeah.
It's like
it gets the whole crowd chanting, even like a brutal death metal band doing that.
Pretty unique. A lot of the death metal shit is just like it's so fast, it's like by you, and you're just like there's the crazy factor, but there's not like a fucking thing that sticks with you. But like Suffocation had like iconic songwriting, which was like coming from like I was super huge into like Pantera, I mean, just like stuff that sticks with you, and like catchiness, like a good riff that you can hum, which is like it might sound crazy, but that's why I fell in love with None So Vile, because that like the vocals might be a little ultra left field, but like you can listen to the None So Vile album and be like humming those riffs after, like it was catchy.
Totally.
And like that's what stuck with me too. Like we got into Dying Fetus a lot because those riffs and those like those fucking groove riffs and those breakdown riffs were just fucking catchy, and like that's what always appealed to me too. Like was the wow factor, of course, because you would show people and they'd be like, "What the fuck?" And you're like, "Yeah, listen to the drummer." But like also bitchin' songwriting was like always a big deal for me, and so like that's why there was like a handful of bands that like were mine and Jared's shit. Spawn of Possession, Dying Fetus, Suffocation. And then like other like the Swedish thrash stuff and the Swedish speed metal shit like Soilwork, Carnal Forge. Those were really cool too, and I think those had a big influence on Arkaik really early on too, and like Vader, like the more like the speed thrash stuff, because it seemed more of like something that like I could pull off like guitar wise. That's how Arkaik really started. So but yeah, it's like, so like influences aside, Darkane was a huge influence on fucking early Arkaik for sure. That's where we got our name, because like me and Jared were like jamming around, and I was out to breakfast with my parents, and my mom was like, "What are you gonna name the band?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know." And she's like, "Well, what are your favorite bands? Just do something like that." And I was like, "Well, I really like the name, Darkane. That's a cool name." And she's like, "Well, what about Darkaic?" And I was like, that sounds too much like Darkane. But what about Arkaik? That's a cool word. And my mom was like, yeah, I think that's actually a real word too. And I was like, oh, what's it mean? So I went home, and this is before like internet on the cell phones, like I went home and I Googled Arkaik, and it's like old and ancient. And I was like, oh, that sounds like super neat. Like that's cool. Like you could go somewhere with that, like thematically. So me and Jared were like, I was a junior and at this point, I think he was a sophomore when we really got serious. So we're like, all right, we're gonna start a band and we're gonna do this shit and we're gonna start a metal band and it's gonna be the sickest band ever. And and then so we're like, all right, we got to find a drummer. So like one of our good buddies at the time was his parents were like had a really, really successful, they still do landscaping business. So like they were like, you know, super well off and like usually like really cool kids. Like they're still our good friends to this day. But you know, he was like my buddy in weights and I was getting him into metal too. And I was like, all right, other friend of mine, you get drums. You'll be
because he was like the one friend of ours that we could convince to play drums for us because we didn't know any like drummers that were into metal, and then two could like afford a drum set.
Yeah.
You know?
Was also into the stuff that we were into too, you know, because like you know.
Yeah.
And because we would hang out at his house and we'd be showing him bands and he was all into Slayer, you know, and Pantera and shit. So we all vibed on music. So we were like, hey, dude, get a drum set. And he's like, okay, sure. So, and he ended up getting like a Pearl Export, like a black Pearl Export kit. And he had like like his house is super big and he had this fucking weight room that we could jam in. So he was like, all right, cool. Not only does he have the drum set, he's got the spot to jam in. So we started jamming in his weight room. And before we even had a drummer though, like I would write riffs and I would show them to Jared and you know, I'd be like, Jared, you should write some riffs too. And so we would like write riffs. And this is how we got our songwriting process. Cause I'd write a riff and this is kind of like, I guess it's more of a foreshadowing, but it's why I ended up sucking at guitar way later. And like, I don't play guitar for Arkaik anymore, even though I still collab with them. But like, instead of being one of those persons that I should have been and sitting down and learning all the songs that I liked to play, I would be like, that's a sick song. I want to write my own version of that. So I would just by ear figure out how to do what it sounded like while also like totally like instilling and reinstilling god awful technique and picking technique. But I would write riffs that sound like the riffs I'd like, and then I'd name them, and then I'd put them in order. And I'd be like, all right, Jared, I got that riff, and then you know it'd be like Spawn riff, and then Suffo Chug, and then
dude, that's exactly how we did it too in Carnivorous. It was name it by the band it sounded like.
Yeah, and I would have like I had a little fucking like a little diary that I would write like poetry in and draw like my fucking you know West Borland characters onto, and like so I'd be writing lyrics in it too, you know. I'd be in the middle like of fucking like English class being like writing lyrics, like figuring out what it was we wanted to do our thing too, because we didn't want to be like satanic. We weren't like all into partying and heavy metal, and we you know weren't into gore. So I was like, how are we gonna like what are we gonna sing about, you know? And I was really into Soilwork because their lyrics were super cool and abstract.
What's your favorite Soilwork album?
What? What's
your favorite Soilwork album?
Oh man, the first
Steel Bath.
Three Steel Bath. Predator's Portrait was my first one, so that was like at Chain Heart Machine. Is that in that one? Steel Bath. It's gonna be first. It's Predators, then Steel Bath Suicide, then Chain Heart. But I really love Natural Born Chaos. That
was my favorite.
Me too.
One.
I love that one too.
Yeah, so good.
But
they kind of went a little bit more popular at that age, but still I liked it. It was more like dialed in production wise, like
well,
that.
Here's the thing.
As we speak and stuff.
All of it.
I think that probably Chance was the same way, but like I liked when bands could be metal or death metal, but they could also be like writing songs and even catchy and like something that you could kind of sing in your head or something that sticks. So I think like that's kind of why we liked Soilwork and stuff, because it was like it's catchy stuff and it was like metal and pretty extreme for us at the time. So
yeah,
that was a big influence. Yeah,
for sure. And then lyrically, like Bjorn's lyrics, especially in like those older days, they were like gnarly and they were like brutal, but they're also really abstract. You know what I mean? And cryptic. It wasn't like I'm good. Like she doesn't know who I am. All she knows is that I love to kill, face down, dead on the ground. Like that's as to the point as it gets. And then you got Frank, who's like, you know, like I proceeded to hack several more times. The pile of flesh now runs before me. And like my favorite all-time Suffocation song. Every time they would play that, the whole floor turned into a pit. But like that's not what we were trying to do. So I drew a lot of inspiration from Soilwork and Darkane too. Darkane was like a lot of those Swedish bands like knew how to be like cryptic and like, you know, like poetic, but like also brutal. You know what I mean? Like the Bastard Chain or what was it? Needle Feast. Like, that's crazy. Like, I was like, that was the coolest name for a song ever, Needle Feast, you know? And it was like, it wasn't about like, I'm torturing somebody and feeding them needles. It was all this really poetic shit about like pain and just cryptic shit that just was dope poetry. And I was like, always into like writing poems and like really into like, before I got into metal, I was my other favorite bands were like Smashing Pumpkins and like Soundgarden. And like, I was like always reading lyrics and always reading like liner notes. And so I love Smashing Pumpkins lyrics, especially like Melancholy and Infinite Sadness. There's like some really cool stuff there, you know? And Soundgarden's lyrics were always kind of cool and kind of cryptic, but also, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you could kind of tell that there was a theme, like Super Unknown, like a lot of those songs were really cool. And I think that's where like my love of like good songwriting too, you know what I mean? Like Jared said, I loved like wow factor music, and I liked like shit that was brutal and gave you an adrenaline rush, but I also really liked music that was well written, you know what I mean? Like my mom was a huge audiophile and like had the first 500 disc CD changer and had like a vinyl collection that she had since she was in high school, and like introduced me to all kinds of music when I was a kid, like showed me Black Sabbath for the first time, like Led Zeppelin, like Michael Jackson, like into everything. Like I got to give my mom mad props, one for being the first Arkaik teen mom, but also instilling in me like the love of music that I have. Because you guys remember those BMG like record things where it was like a penny for a CD, and like
Columbia House.
House, dude. My mom would game those all the time. She would do the penny for a CD and get 10 CDs or whatever it was, and then she would cancel, and then she would just sign up again, and like she would just have stacks of CDs, and like me and her would just sit down and read those fucking those brochures of all the bands and their little things, and pick cool bands, and you know, always like, oh, that's a cool band on the radio, you know, and like, and then I would show my mom stuff. I was like, Mom, get Bush, you know, and like, you know, get this Nirvana album, and she would be getting like you know, all the albums that she had on vinyl that she wanted to listen to on CD. So she was showing me Yes and Tangerine Dream and just like anything you could think of, you know, and Depeche Mode, all the Pink Floyd stuff, and like she was really into like new age, like cool ambient stuff. So not to go on too much of a side about my mom, but anyway,
that's all good. I was just gonna say, like, so this, you were into all this, you were getting pummeled with all this stuff, and you're deciding to make music. You got Jared with you, so you guys start writing music together. And how many songs did you guys write before that first full length that I got?
Oh, dude, we had like 3 EP demos that we had. So we got together and we found a bass player, this other kid named Dylan, and so we wrote like 4 songs. Right, we had 4 songs. We had like Blood Red Sand, and then like that's the only one I can remember. So I think R.I.P.B., which was our friend that died, so it was Rest in Peace Brett, and like 2 other songs. It might have been called Lurker in the Twilight, which I would rip off song titles from other bands' lyrics. So that was a beta.
We should let the people know that like at this time I was just like guitar player too.
Oh yeah, he wasn't even the singer.
I wasn't singing vocals. Like,
did you have a vocalist?
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole nother thing that we can talk about. But we at like in the beginning of the band, we didn't have a vocalist. Like we were just writing riffs and like putting together songs and stuff. And then like the first demo that we did was that 5-song Pure Sonic Brutality demo. And we did it in some guy's like living room with one of those like recorder boxes that you plug 8 mics into.
That we met like, from In and Out. Like somehow someone's like, you should talk to my homie from In and Out. I think it was somebody we knew worked in In and Out. And he's like, dude, my homie's like trying to start like a studio. Like he'll probably record you for cheap. And we're like, fuck yeah. And so yeah, it was that dude.
Yeah, and we didn't have a vocalist then, and like me and you literally did the vocals for that. Yeah, and we like didn't know what we were doing. We were just like kind of going. I remember just being like, oh yeah.
Like, can we double that like 3 or 4 more times? So, but we learned a lot, man. We started recording really early, which I think was a very good thing for us as as artists, and figuring out that whole process. Like the minute we had 5 songs, and I think we hadn't, like we were still in high school, like when we did at least 2 demos. So we did that demo and it came out cool, and we were like super stoked on that. And then we wrote a couple other songs, and so like, at this point,
it's time to get a better sounding, like that first demo sounds like garbage,
Yeah.
to be honest. Like
It's
we
like-
thought it was really super cool at the time
Yeah.
because we actually did
Yeah.
put our stuff
first
on
thing.
and you listen back, you're like, whoa, I'm listening to myself.
I know the first time you hear yourself recorded, it's a life-changing thing. It's like you definitely think you sound, I don't know, you think you sound better than you actually probably do, because you're like, you're like, okay, we're keeping beat, everything's like, oh damn, that sounds sicker than I thought right there. And like it's like that like opens up the whole world of wanting to actually be in a band. That first time you hear yourself recorded, you're like, what the fuck, we're a band, dude. We're a fucking band right now. Like,
yeah, there's like no feeling than actually writing the songs and then actually hearing them back to you. And like,
yep.
me and Jared were super into like the Pantera home videos and the Korn home video, like Who Then Now.
Me too.
But there's a lot of studio footage in a lot of those things. So we were like, I remember being stoked of like, yeah, I got like ideas. Like I want to double track all the guitars, and Jerry, we gotta stack, you know, like we gotta make it sound thick, and like, you know, we get in there and the guy's like, oh, you don't need to do all that, like, you know, and you know, and then we started actually trying to do it, and it was really hard to do that, you know. I remember going like, I'm gonna double each guitar, because I was like the only guitar player, and then I was like, that's hard to do, that make it sound good. Like maybe I'm just gonna. He's like, well, I could actually just record one guitar and then pan it to the other thing and then like delay it a little bit, so it sounds like two guitars.
Totally wrong technique to do.
And I was like, yeah, let's do that instead, because like doubling, it's like that's a lot of work.
It's copy and
Death
paste.
metal cheaters, dude.
Yeah.
Originators of it. So
And it
we
was
did
like
that
this was like thrash-ish. It was like barely death metal. And then and we were just basically, we spent a couple years making demos and trying to find musicians that like were decent and like would show up to practice, because we like, once we got the first drummer Matt, and like we started to jam together, and like that we kind of, I remember we did our, like the first show I ever played was actually at my brother's house in his front yard in this in this poor city that he lived in, and I was just doing vocals. Like I did some guitar. We didn't have any real songs. We like literally ad-libbing. And then I like got on the mic and I was like, rah, rah. And then I was like, I kind of like that. Like maybe I could do this.
Well,
and
what
then,
happened was the singer that we got, because we made another demo, right? That Greg was on, right?
Oh, it was Greg. Yeah. And then
so
we found a singer. We
found a singer, and he was down for it for like a little bit. And then when it came to play the first show, he like backed out. Was like, actually, no, I don't want to do this. And so we're like, well, fuck, we got to play this show. Like all the cute girls from high school are like here. Like we got to be cool. And so Jared's like, fuck it, I'll do it.
Yeah, and then we like did that for like high school, and we kind of like got some, we would just meet random people at Guitar Center and be like, hey, you want to be in our band? Like I saw you do a sweep. Like that's exactly what we're looking for. You're hired.
Yeah. Oh, that's a funny story. That's how we met Craig originally. But I think we'll get to that point. I think another important part of this story though was like the Showcase Theater. We owe a lot to the Showcase Theater for several reasons, but one of the reasons was they had this thing called the Showcase Showdown every year, and it was a battle of the bands. And if you won the battle of the bands, you won $500. And so we did our first Showcase Showdown and got everyone we knew from our high school, like sold a shit ton of those tickets. Like I think we even bought a bunch of them because we're going all in on this. But we got like all our friends, and we ended up winning that that Showcase Showdown. And we probably sounded god awful and terrible. And that was with Matt, but we got $500. So with that $500, we invested in a Carvin PA. So once we had that PA, we had moved out of our buddy's, out of our drummer's weight room, because his dad's like, get this shit the fuck out of here. Like, I want to work out. And then we moved into my garage, and then we played in my garage for like a month, but we kept getting the security called on us. So finally at this point, I think my mom had moved out for like other reasons, because that was her computer room. Oh no, she moved her computer room into the kitchen. And so we moved into my sister's old room, and then became my mom's computer room, but she moved her shit into the kitchen, and we ended up just destroying that room. Like his brother worked construction and just gave us all this carpet, and we just nailed all this old carpet to the fucking wall. And
layers
of carpet, layers. And so that was our jam room, and that became the incubator for Arkaik for a decade plus at that point. So then we got the PA for that room. So then we had a legit PA, so we could practice. We would mic the kick, you could hear the vocals, and me and Jared would literally go into that room after school, and we would just sit there for hours. Like, God bless my parents for like every day, all the time for like 5 hours straight. We would just be in that room jamming, like, hey, Jared, you play drums, I'll play guitar.
Yep.
All right. Oh, you play guitar, I'll play drums. And like literally would just sit there and jam. And that's why we would constantly be able to write new music to do demos, because we would just write music in that room, you know, and being like, all right, shuffle riff, spawn transition, do. So
then fast forward to that first full length that I got from you guys. Jared's also on drums.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing.
How the fuck did that happen?
That's the thing. The first drummer guy just kind of like lost interest, and we were like, oh, we got to find somebody new now. This sucks. But we found another guy that we heard played drums and was into metal. So he joined the band, this guy, Jimmy. And
that was Nick.
Oh, it was Nick. Yeah, but that was like for a month. We had like, you know, we were just trying to get anybody to play, to be honest.
You're into metal.
We'll teach you how to do double bass. We'll coach you how to play blast beats. Like, we barely know how to do it, but we'll tell you how to do it.
Come to my room, and for 3 hours, we'll yell at you to get it perfect.
Yeah.
Like, we will drum clinic you as much as you want to sit in that hot fucking room that smells like dip spit and fucking spilled soda. Like, if you want to get good, hang out with us. Like, that was that was basically our selling point, you know.
I'm guessing one of you guys did the Metal Archives page for Arkaik, because all these names you're throwing out are like right here on the page.
I've never
Really?
I don't know how people know.
I'm seeing Nick, Vaudry, Matt Whiting, just a guy, Jimmy
Harris, rest
all
in peace.
All these dudes are just here on this page. Like, someone went deep into it, so someone knows.
Yeah, big ups to them, whoever that was.
But yeah, like we just, all of that high school, and then like a couple years out of high school was just like trying to find members who like were into metal and like would be dedicated and practice. And we would practice like Tuesday and Thursday, and like the drummer wouldn't show up, so like I'd get on drums and like play for a little bit, and then we'd switch, and we kind of like, just because like the drummer didn't show up, and then like we got like another drummer that like wasn't like, we couldn't find a drummer that like stuck around and that would be like devoted to becoming like a real death metal drummer. And so I was like, screw it, I'm gonna buy a drum set and be the drummer. That'll solve the problem if I just be the drummer. And because I'd already been playing some drums and I kind of do decent double bass and stuff, so I like took it up full time. I was like practicing double bass all the time, and like, I'm gonna actually be a drummer. And then we had to find a vocalist, and so that actually turned out to be harder than we thought, because we're like, anybody can scream, right? And like, that was harder, and we like had a guy, and then we didn't, and then so I played the drums for a while, and then like I also sung on a couple of the demos because we didn't have a singer, but we did have a drummer, and I was playing guitar, and we would write songs and then go to the studio called Love Juice in Riverside.
Oh, remember? No, before Love Juice, there was Danny's house, remember? And this is where you were like, this is the second time Greg was like, oh, I'm going to come back and do the demo. And then he backed out again. And that's when you're like, you know what, fuck it. Like, I'm going to do it. I think I could pull it off. And I did some backing vocals, but that's when we were like, yo, like, you actually sound good. Like, and at this point we had already done like a demo or two before this one. So we kind of had some experience. We kind of knew like how we wanted to do what we wanted to do. We knew about like double tracking cool parts and stuff. And when we did that demo at Danny's house, that's when we kind of realized like Jared could definitely be the singer. So that's when we were kind of like, all right, Jared could be the singer. But then you were like, if I play drums, like that'd be cool, because if we ever need a drummer, I could play drums. But if we ever have a drummer, like one of the things with a couple of our drummers that was a pain in the ass is they were down to play drums, but they didn't have a drum set. You know what I mean? Like Jimmy, he was borrowing his drum set from a church or something, and Nick Vaudry like was using Matt Whiting's for a little bit. Matt wanted it back, so we had to wait like 3 weeks for his parents to buy him one. And not having a drummer that didn't have a drum set was also the bane of our existence. So Jared was like, if I just own the drum set, if we ever get another drummer, he can just come and practice on this set.
Right, yeah. And I was like, like if the drum set is what we need to make this shit happen, I'll get one. And then and I'll learn drums just in case. And, you know, like I liked playing drums from playing our drummers who didn't show up drum sets. So yeah, like that demo that we gave you, or it was like a attempt at a full album.
Yeah, that we did like, in 3 days.
Yeah, it was like a package deal, like 3 days in the studio and like 100 like jewel cases with artwork. Like you give us the artwork, and like after the 3 days, we print you the CDs, and you have an album.
Yeah.
Like, what? Cool. So that's what that was, and that was when we didn't have a drummer or a vocalist, so I did both, and I was kind of
live with you on drums and vocals, and you're like, oh, dude.
Oh yeah, like we booked a show when we when we didn't have a drummer or a vocalist, or I was doing both or whatever. So I remember playing drums and like getting so fatigued, and that I like, have you ever like worked out or like ran so much that you like almost want to throw up? Like you're gonna throw up because you're so out of breath. And I remember like playing and like, oh my God, I'm gonna throw up, and I'm trying to sing while I'm like playing these songs. And I'm like, that was the last time I ever did that.
Yeah, you're like, I gotta pick one, man. I had to pick one. And I think the other thing you were like, if I'm a singer, I don't have to fucking unload a drum set all the time. Like, that's a big
so is that what you guys got signed to Unique Leader on? Was that album?
No.
That's a little bit before that. But before Dinkies, I just want to give a shout out to Love Juice Labs, because we recorded 2 demos at Love Juice Labs, and that was a good learning experience.
Metal Dan, remember Metal Dan?
Yep. There was a local death metal band from LA called Gatekeeper, and we heard their demo on MySpace. And we're like, that sounds sick. Like, this sounds good. Like, we're like, if we record with this guy, that's how good our stuff's gonna sound. And so we did, I think, one demo that we're like, we should come back and do a better one. And then we did the Divine Manifestation demo with Jimmy that had some songs that were on that Existential Chaos CD. So then we were like, well, we want to try something else from other than Love Juice, because there was also weird shit with money, and they were like, it was just it was ran out of someone's house, and there's a bunch of weird shady stuff that we were like, let's see what else is out there. And this place had just opened up in Corona, called Dinkies. And we went there and met the guy, and he's like, yeah, I got a package deal, however much it was, $380. You record, you get 3 days of 6-hour sessions or whatever, and then we'll print you like 100 jewel case CDs, like Jared said. We're like, what a deal. If we could record a whole album ourselves with everything and then submit that to labels, they're like, this band does it all. We should definitely
like we could give this CD to a label and get signed. Like that's what they want.
Yeah. You could blast us and be like, these guys, we don't have to teach them anything. So we did that. We recorded the whole album in fucking 3 days. I
just checked it out. It sounds kind of sick still. Like, it's on YouTube. It's pretty sick. Yeah.
That's cool.
It's listenable. It's pretty good.
It's all right. The drums are like sloppy. They're not like, there was no click that we recorded to, and like there's no like, I didn't have good drum technique for death metal, which is eventually why I was just like, I would have to like practice for 8 solid years, like every week all the time, to get to the level that we need, which was like at this point we had heard of Decrepit Birth and Severed Savior and stuff, and we were like trying to be Casey Howard. Like I was like, I would like watch your YouTube videos.
Oh, those YouTube videos, it just looks like your drumsticks are floating. And like, I think you had like, we would watch those videos all the time.
Yeah. And
Same
so we're
here.
like, that's the kind of drummer that we want.
Yeah.
And so, we would like show that to people and be like, can you play
Can you do
like
this?
that? Obviously like not. But we did find a drummer that lived in the city over that was like into Origin, and we're like,
Nice.
oh cool.
Yeah.
So he's all into John Longstreth.
Ryan, well, yeah.
Yeah. Remember?
Okay,
And
so is that okay? So I just want to move it into the getting signed to Unique
Yeah,
Leader.
so
sorry.
this is right before that. So
Yeah.
By
this
the way,
is when we
Longstreth
started
is
to
way
go
better than me.
well,
Debatable.
No.
yeah, I mean,
Well, we had
different
met
styles, I
Craig
think.
I'm just
but
saying.
that's
He's about only faster than
I'm
you.
just,
I think
I'm just saying he's.
that's
way
the only
better
thing would
than
say
me.
like a speed is like the
I
thing.
don't know, dude. I think in every way he's better than me. Like,
Mhm.
dude, I don't know, man.
I don't even
He's
know.
one of my
You guys-
favorites.
You guys
Like,
are both sick in your own way.
I don't know.
Yeah, you guys are
But-
different.
oh,
you
he-
guys are
Yeah,
definitely
you can't
different.
compare.
It's not even close for me.
No, I'm
Not
not.
even
I'm just saying
close.
you guys are 2 totally different styles, so I wouldn't even
Yeah,
like.
and he's better.
He probably plays
would, like,
fast
John-
death
a
metal more
lot
than you do
better,
now.
Like a lot better.
Would like Callias and Longstreth be more of a like a?
Oh, they're both.
Yeah,
way
you go
better.
head to head.
They're- Yeah, but they also
Oh,
like they
Callias
have
is
such
so
different
amazing.
styles. Like Callias has
Yeah,
like a
totally.
He's got a very like he
sick.
knows his basics. Not that Longstrength doesn't, but it's a very like really sick rudimentary like I don't know, like he took a.
Yeah.
He's got like his rudiments down, and Longstrength is like he's got like I don't even know how to describe his style, but it's
Dude,
fucking-
he's
it's
He's
like
all
so
spicy though.
straight
He
to
always
he's
hell.
so comfortable.
Yeah, I
like
was
so
excited.
comfortable.
even
Like I remember, like there was a time that we was sitting behind him at we did a House of Blues in Vegas, and he was like playing. It was awesome show, Summer Slaughter show, and he's just going nuts like a million miles an hour. And then I'm standing behind him, and he's got his double bass going like, and he's all fuck, and he gets his drumsticks and he throws them on the ground, and his double bass is still going.
yeah,
He just
yeah.
slowly grabs his other drumsticks, and he's like, all right. And just goes right back into it. I'm like, I've never seen that much calmness of like something he messed something up and decided to throw his drumsticks like fuck, god damn it, like while he's doing like 280 double kit, like
Doesn't
16
miss a
notes.
beat and
Like,
just like grabs. Yeah, no, dude.
yeah.
Dude, he's first of all, John is a fucking rad dude. First of all,
Yeah.
but and dude, that guy, I've always looked up to him so much, and I've seen him play a million times, and he's so great. But dude, like even the way he sets up his kit is like rad. You're like, damn, this guy shreds just by like the way he sets it up. You're like,
And his technique was like really
oh,
different.
so
Yeah,
good.
like super
Yeah.
left field, but and just
Yeah,
so fast. Like
And
He
that's
like
what
started those doubles, right? Didn't he? He was like the first one to be doing
Yeah.
those doubles.
I mean,
I
that's
think
that's
so.
what I remember. But whatever.
yeah.
Didn't he have
Yeah.
like a like?
I always say
remember when we
that,
played
you
with
know.
him did we play with him or no in Illinois, right? And
Oh.
St. Louis.
With all the hurricanes.
Yeah, that
the-
was
the
St. Louis.
tornadoes
oh
or
yeah,
whatever?
I, I said
Tornadoes.
Illinois because we were competing with
And
the
the power was out. and
Central
shit.
Illinois Metal Fest, which was
Oh,
not
yeah.
that far away.
Yeah.
I don't know if the power went out. I know that the promoter didn't show up, but we're backstage at that place. I remember looking at his pedals. They looked like twice as long as everybody else's. I don't know what
Yeah.
that means, or if is that like a normal
Longboards.
thing?
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
what
they're
they're
just
called,
called
longboards. So what
Yeah.
does that do? What makes it? What of them being longer?
It's like if you're
do
sitting
you
further
guys?
back, you can like get like an approach.
So like the Troy style where
back.
he goes on his heels. That's a good for like on your heels.
It all depends like where you're pressing on the pedal, like
Like a
as-
center of
as
gravity,
your
maybe?
like your fulcrum or like pivot point. So like if
Yeah.
that's like usually like mid up the pedal, like or a little bit more. So like if you're a big dude, like and you're playing the Axis A's, for example, if you're comparing longboards, like for me, I like the A's because I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'9", 5'10", and so for me, like that's the right size. But if you're like, I think I'm not sure if this is right, like, but I heard that they like designed the longboards originally for Danny Carey from Tool. I don't know if that's right, but because he's like, super tall and big guy,
does he use Axis?
yeah.
I didn't know.
Like, well, like way back, I think now he plays like Pearl, like Eliminators or something. I saw
Probably.
in pictures. He like changes it up and stuff. But I think, yeah, back in the day, I mean, that's like why I got into Axis. Like I got my first set of Axis pedals like in like 98, I think.
What?
Like way back. Yeah. I like hit him up and I got like an Axis A. It was crazy. I remember when I got him, I was like, whoa, dude, I can play like Deeds stuff now or like whatever, It was like, it just,
Yeah,
like,
I might have bought
crazy.
Axis pedals because I saw you playing them.
Yeah.
It's like when I was set on being a death metal drummer, I was like, well, I need Axis pedals. Duh.
I know, and we convinced.
Duh.
Well, it's basically the direct drive thing. That's what it is, really.
Yeah,
That,
and
like,
and the
Yeah.
longboards was kind of cool because like you can,
yeah,
like you said, kind of put your foot like in these different places and get a
you
different
can sit
reaction.
back further if you like to sit back further, and if you're bigger, like I did like I had them like mine like redone, and I used those on our new Odious when I had the longboards, and like now like I like switched them back to the short boards, and I don't like the longboards anymore. But like looking back, I was like, oh, they were cool, but they're like too heavy for me. I don't know. So,
Dude,
but-
I remember that speaking of Longstreth, that one
Yeah.
show that you're talking about, that was one of the first shows that Longstreth had rejoined. James King was at that show. He was the drummer before,
oh,
and he was
yeah.
sitting there standing over Longstreth, like, because I remember it was me and James standing together, and anytime he would have the slightest mistake, James King would go like,
Yeah, James. Well, that's how we
hilarious.
met. Origin was that I don't want to get into all the back.
yeah.
Anyways, like, why don't
Another
you guys
episode.
continue with your story.
Yeah. So let's
Oh yeah, so we had met Craig initially before this era at Guitar Center. Like we heard him just
Yeah, Craig.
read it, and we're like, dude, and he had a Suffocation hoodie, and at this time I think Jared had like black spiked hair, and I had like, we looked like bros basically. We walked up to him, and we were like, hey, dude, fucking sick hoodie, like we got a metal band, like we got a demo on MySpace. Like, we should, like, if you'd be interested, like, we're looking for another guitar player. And he's like, oh yeah. And then so we like hit him up and we chit chat a little bit on MySpace, and it never went anywhere. And then so we ended up meeting Ryan, like Jared was saying, and he was all into Origin and was like pretty dedicated and could pull off the stuff that we like wanted to do at that point. So we were practicing with him, and
we recorded we recorded one demo, and obviously just sent it to Unique Leader, and we're like,
but this was
remember?
no, but yeah, but so we hit up Craig again, right? Was Craig in the band when we did that first demo?
Maybe not.
I think he was.
I think we did it again because then we did a demo, or we did a demo with Ryan, and then we did another one with Keith when Keith joined the band from Craig, and then that was the one that got assigned because Keith like was a really good drummer.
Yeah. So then we ended up showing that demo we did with Ryan to Craig again, and it was more along the lines of like Deep Flesh. It was way more kind of death metal, you know what I mean? Other stuff was kind of more thrash and Vader style. So when Craig heard that new one, he was like, all right, cool, I'll come over and check you guys out, so he came down, and we were practicing in Ryan's garage at that point, and Ryan was like, had been practicing a lot, and basically we convinced Craig to join the band at that point because he was into what we were doing. So that was a pivotal turning point when Craig joined the band, because Craig is an absolutely phenomenal fucking
monster.
He's
a monster.
And just
basically, we were like at this level, and then when Craig joined, he was insane on guitar. Like what was that one guy that he would always
Rusty Cooley. He was really
he was like really into Rusty Cooley, and like could pull it off that same stuff. And we're like, this guy's crazy good. What? He's in our band too.
Rusty Cooley's gnarly.
He raised the bar to the point where I was like, fuck, like I don't know if I can like pull this off now because this shit's crazy. But anyway, so we were gonna record it. We recorded that demo, and Unique Leader got back and was like, hey, this is a sick demo. If you guys tightened up, you'd be crushing. So
that was the email.
We're like, oh, dude, let's do it. And we're like, Ryan, it's basically
you take that.
Yeah.
How'd you guys take it?
We were like, let's do this. That's the maybe.
But we were so like just like dead set on it that we were like, and he was like, I think he said the drums specifically could be tightened up.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, we got to get a new drummer. Like,
we gave Ryan the shot, but Ryan's like, I'm not that dedicated to be where you guys need or whatever. So like,
he was really into academic stuff. He was a really smart guy. So he's like, I'm gonna go to college.
Well,
I'm not like.
What I was going to mention real quick before we get too past that, because I asked you guys, how you guys took it. You could be a totally different person, take that, and it would be a fucking stab in your heart, and then you wouldn't be able to move forward. But the drive that I see in Arkaik still today, you guys are telling me like the roots of this, like, so we need to get better. We just need to get better. Oh, somebody said we need to get better.
No, we saw that
and get better.
Instead of something negative, we saw that as like, we have a chance.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like he didn't say absolutely no, I'm never gonna work with you guys. Go eat a dick.
Yeah.
You didn't even have to do that, you know?
Yeah. No, we got a solid maybe, and we're like, well, all we gotta do is keep fucking sending him shit. And
dude.
We do what he asks, he'll sign us. So then
solid
Ryan,
maybe.
Solid maybe.
Yeah.
And so then so Ryan was like, we were in all our heads, we were this close to getting signed Unique Leader Records if we just get another sick demo. So we tried to get Ryan to tighten up. Ryan backed out, and we're like, fuck, we need a drummer. Like we're so close. And so Craig's like, well, I got a good friend, and he lives by me, and the dude's a prodigy. Like he's one of those people that they can hear anything, and it's just like, I can play it, whether it's guitar or drums. Like he just sits down and just does this shit. It's not hard for him. And I was like, all right, cool. Then let's do it. And he's Craig's good bud. So that's a fucking fit, me and Jared are best friends. Your best friend joins the band. Like who could ask for more? Oh, and at this point we had Eric Cohen in the band. Eric Cohen,
I know Eric.
Our first, got a big shout out to Eric Cohen, our first dedicated bass player who was fucking super sick, and like loved all the shit that we loved and all the other shit that we loved too, like Adult Swim and Primus and Tool, but also death metal. Like we
Necrophagist.
We met fucking walking to a show at the Showcase, we met Eric, and we met him when we were like, cool shirt. He's like, oh, sick. And he said something. I think he was doing like doing something.
Acting like he was playing a bass. He always did that. He like phantom bass.
Yeah. And we're like, do you play bass? He's like, yeah, dude, I got my bass in my trunk. You want to come sing? And we're like, yeah. And he picks it up and does all this two-handed tapping shit. And we're like, bro, we need a bass player. Like, you want to join our band? He's like, well, what kind of bands? We're like fucking Suffocation and fucking Tool and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, dude, yeah. So that was like, we got Eric in the band.
We finally got a good bass player.
We got a good bass player. And we had gone through a couple other guitar players before that with Eric. This dude, Justin, who was a cool kid. That ended up moving to New Orleans, but we had a solid trio at that point. It was like me, Jared, and Eric, and Eric was just as down. Like, I want this shit bad, you know what I mean? And so like he was part of that drive. So then when we found Craig, it was like we got Craig, we got Eric, we got me, we got Jared. Like all we need to do is get that drummer dude, and like we have the makings of a fucking solid ass thing. So we get Keith in the band. Keith's just fucking a solid ass drummer. So we record another demo with Keith, and I think Keith learned all the songs in like I don't even know.
A month or something. Didn't practice them like with a drum set, like just listen to them, and then came over. Didn't have a drum set either. He had like sold all his stuff and like quit music, but like we're like, no, you got to come out of retirement, bro. Yeah. And
Jared's got the drum set.
I got a drum set, Axis pedals. It's all yours, bro. And yours, take it.
At this point, we had met Samur too with Seahorse Sound. So Samur had recorded like 2 of our demos before that, and we had gotten a good relationship with Samur because he was also into a lot of the death metal stuff we were in. He had his band Dystrophic, and they were like a fucking Origin like style band. He was just, he's still a fucking amazing dude and a good friend. And one of those other dudes that we met, like the first time we met, like we didn't even start recording until like 2 hours because we were like standing outside of the studio like jibber jabbering for like, it felt like we had known the dude for like 10 years, you know what I mean? And like we were like, oh, so it was just a good fit. So we went and recorded our next demo there, and with Keith and everybody, and Unique Leader got back with that yes, and we were like,
yes.
Oh shit, it's for real.
Take me through that day, like,
dude. I know exactly where I was. I was working at it was called Chick Sporting Goods at the time, but then it got bought by Dick's Sporting Goods. I don't know if it was Chicks or Dick's at the time, but it was one of them. And and I was like in the back room and like just trying to avoid work or something. And I remember like I got a text from like Craig or something, and Craig's like, dude, read the email or something, check the email. And I was like, what? And I was like freaking out, and I was like at work, and I was like, this is it, dude.
Yeah.
Never gonna have a job again. I'm getting signed.
Yeah, but dude, it was everything we wanted. So we did the whole thing. We were like, all right, cool. They gave us the money to record the album, money to do the album cover. We're like, gonna get fucking Parolz in the why not, dude? Yeah. And we're gonna record at Seahorse Sound, and we love you, Summer. We're gonna help put you on the map. Let's do it. Like, we're gonna do big things. And so we recorded Reflections Within Dissonance. And I think at that point, right, like Craig's the solid ass guitar player, and he's like, I want to record all the guitars on the album. And
yeah.
And I was like,
it's always a good idea. If you're a band or a musician listening, just let the better guitar player play the parts.
Yeah. At first I was a little like butthurt about it, but then I was like, you know what, if that's gonna make it sound better, like it's all about the finished product. Like I helped write 50% of the album, I fucking writing the lyrics. Like, okay, cool, like let's just get the best product that we can. So we put out Reflections Within Dissonance, and the other thing that got us to this point too, we got to shout out, is Showcase Theater, because Showcase Theater in Corona, like to take a couple steps back. So we lived, like I said, an hour and a half south of LA, hour and a half north of San Diego, and Orange County was right down the way, 45 minutes. So we were going to shows all the fucking time. Galaxy Theater, the fucking House of Blues, the chain reaction. Like 90% of our time besides practicing was fucking going to shows, man. Like the Showcase Theater, I've seen some of my most favorite death metal bands you could ever ask for. I saw Spawn.
Didn't they have a thing called Showcase down there? Where they had, was a battle of the bands.
That's what we yeah. Yeah, we already did this, right?
But we made good friends with Joe, and so he would let us open up for like all the fucking like all the death metal bands that would come through, and we'd be the band that would fucking play to fucking all 12 of those people.
And we remember we one of our biggest shows, it was like sold out, and it was Animosity, Job for a Cowboy, Sworn Enemy,
and 6 Feet Under.
And 6 Feet Under. Yeah, and we like got on the opening slot, and like that was like our first like big true death metal show, and we were like pretty okay at that time.
I love that place, dude. I really do love that place. Every time we play there a couple times, dude, and the shows, everybody gets down.
Let's get it back. Let's bring the Showcase Theater back.
I know.
Dude, the Pound and the Showcase Theater.
I miss that backstage and Showcase, that upstairs backstage.
Yeah.
When they just give that shitty pizza, and just that pizza tastes the best.
And then like those fucking like those fucking giant buckets of just beer. But dude, because of that, we would be opening for these death metal bands, and we'd be hanging out with them, picking their brains. Like, what do you do? How'd you get signed? Like, how do you we learned about triggers because of the Showcase Theater. Like, how do you get your shit sounded so fat? Like, then we'd be drinking beers with the bands. Like, it was so cool. Like, that was a big part of us being a part of the metal scene. And then in San Diego, you had the Jumping Turtle, and the dude that booked Jumping Turtle was Joe Troutman.
Yeah.
With that guy, we got in with him, and he would let us open up for all the death metal bands that would come through. So we got our live chops because of all the venues we would go see our favorite bands at. We ended up playing there, dude.
Yeah, and we actually did this technique that I think to this day, like when I look back, was really helpful for us, like getting somewhere, because like like this is still kind of how it is, like pre-COVID, was that like if you wanted to play a big show with a touring band coming around, well, the touring band, I didn't even know this stuff at the time, but the touring band needs a certain amount bands needs a certain amount of money in order to play the show. They have a deal worked out, and in order to guarantee that they can get them there, then they have local bands sell tickets. And so we would talk, we got in with the promoters, and then we'd like stay on them about like a show coming up. Hey, I saw this. We would check that one website, Mosh Pit or something. Mosh King. We'd check for shows. Then we'd be like, all right, that show's coming up. There's another show there. We should go there, talk to the promoter. Then if the promoter lets us on, then we'll have to sell tickets, which sucks. But me and Chance would actually we kind of flipped it where we like, okay, well, who's the best person to sell a ticket to for your band who nobody has heard of and isn't your mom or your family or like your friends who have already like seen you the last
like selling candy bars times. For Boy Scouts.
Exactly.
Family and friends.
Yeah. So we're like, I don't know, we came up with the idea of just going to shows at the same place that we're going to play at like 2 months from then, and talking to people, and just, we had tickets on us. So we're like, oh, are you going to go to this show? It's coming up. And they're like, yeah, I'm totally planning on going. Cool. Well, actually, I'm in a band. I'm opening the show, and I'm gonna and I have tickets. They're like $5 off, or they're pre-sale tickets. They're a little discount if you get them before than the door. And like we would sell our tickets for our shows like that way. And then the promoters would be happy because we came through, and they're like, oh, you always come through. You Arkaik boys always come through.
One time we got bitched at, though, because they found out we were selling the tickets to the people at the show, and they're like, you're selling it to them for $5 off, but that person's going to come to the show. He could buy the ticket at the door for full price. And we're like, you know what? Fuck you, man. You want your ticket sold or not?
Or we would even go to like the Galaxy, or we'd go to House of Blues to a Suffocation show. Yeah. And we would sling them at other shows too. Yep. But we kind of like
centers and fucking like we would hustle like tickets, man.
We hustled to sell tickets, and that's like what got us on some big shows in the beginning, and then like eventually we did get signed to Unique Leader, which was really cool.
That, to Murder Fest, all right. So we had our first fucking demo, and this is before even we got the email. This, if you tightened up, it would be crushing. But we got to give mad props to Obi from Inherent Disease, because we played Murder Fest. And we ended up just like, we love Unique Leader bands. And we ended up talking to Obi because he was running the fucking, the Unique Leader booth. And he's just a cool as fuck dude. And we just ended up like drinking beers and hanging out with him the whole time. And he's like, yeah, man, like this is how Eric got the original demo. He's like, dude, like you guys seem like cool dudes. Like give me your demo and I'll give it to Eric and give me your email. And like, you know, like I can't promise anything, but you never know like what'll happen. And we're like, oh, all right, cool. So Obi gave our original demo to Eric. And that's when we got the good stuff, but tighten up, you be crushing email. Like that was a big moment for us too.
That's super cool, dude. I didn't know that.
All because
I had
of
no
Obi,
idea.
Little man.
Yeah.
Obi's the shit, dude. He's a lifetime homie, dude. He's gonna be on a very near future episode as well.
Yeah. I was gonna
You'll
say Cali Death. You got to get Obi.
No, for sure. We've been saving him. We're like we've been trying to just do like more band centric stuff right now. I don't really know why, but we're just trying to do like bands, couple of members, but you know, Obi's got a couple of bands and he's got his own story. So, you know, he's going to be one of those like on his own episodes as well, you know, but yeah, for sure, dude. I keep in touch with Obi all the time. I've been talking to him about the podcast. He's going to be on very soon. Love the dude.
Yeah, he was like our mentor basically.
Yeah,
it's fucking awesome.
We
dude.
met him at Showcase in the parking lot and picked his brain, and like he
That's
was
where
like
I met him
super
too, Showcase.
Yeah, he was like really cool, and like I'm sure we could have like annoyed him, or like, you know, like we're both, me and Chance at the same time, or especially back then, are probably pretty intense.
Yeah,
you know, and
bright-eyed, bushy-tailed fucks.
Well, you guys, you could take it back to when we met as well. Like we were still hungry and moving forward too. So it's like we're seeing you guys coming up right behind us. I mean, still to this day, dude, I'm not the egotistical type, but you know, to see you guys nipping at our heels and stuff, and look at it in a positive way, and see like we were just as hungry. We're still hungry. We're seeing you guys come up. We want to see that happen because we know what that feeling's like, and we want it to happen for everybody that is feeling that, you know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things too that you always run into on the tour is just you always get a stack of demos from people. You know, you always get the stack. It was, you know, every person in the band's got either a friend that needs a demo listened to or something like that. And I think I remember like running into you guys kind of like that in that kind of same scenario. I got a demo, something, listen to this. I was like, cool, man, cool. Like, and I was like, I might check it out. Like, I don't know. Like, I got like a humongous thing. And then like I think you guys played a show with us. I think when I knew, like, I was like, fuck, Arkaik's legit was it was at the Grove. Remember, you guys were playing right before us. It was Decrepit. Yeah. It was Decrepit. And like and actually I borrowed Eric Cohen's bass amp that night, and it exploded while I was playing. But and I was luckily like I had the Sans amp. I had that the Sans amp preamp going to the house, so like the amp was fucked, but I could hear myself still. But which sucked. It was just like I felt super bad about it. But no, that's when I watched you guys play, and I'm like, dude, these guys are because I remember seeing as like kids and come up, and all of a sudden, I mean, you're only a few years younger than us, but still like, oh, it's another, you know, band trying to get signed. It's cool. It's awesome. You know, you see it at every venue. And that was
what year?
The one show I was just like, oh fuck, Arkaik is
I'm guessing 2009.
2008, 2009, something like that.
Or 2009.
Yeah.
Was it with me? Or
what's up?
Was it with me?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was okay. So
it was outdoor at the Grove. Remember we played at the Grove?
Oh,
outside?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like a humongous show too.
I think the set times were like pushed back. Like, I'm pretty sure we were supposed to play like an hour or two earlier than we did, which was awesome because like that was like one of the biggest crowds that we had until then. Like it was outdoors, but it was like packed, and we were opening. You guys were on the tour, and we got to play an opening date, and we ended up playing right before you guys on the outdoor stage.
Okay.
Yeah. That was
okay. Yeah.
Even for me, this
is post-release Unique Leader first release.
You guys will maybe been signed. Did you get signed by that time?
I'm not sure. We might have been in talks and
I don't think so.
Didn't it come out in 2010?
Reflections came out in 2010.
Yeah, so we were still like on our way up, but we had probably been talking to Obi, and we had probably gotten that one email, and we were probably like, yo, like it's gonna happen, and you're, you know.
Yeah.
But that was like the cool thing about where we lived is it was a fucking like really dope, like it was like an entry point to everywhere. Like we weren't stuck to one scene. We were like, we'll go down and play shows in San Diego. We'll go play at the Chain Reaction. We played a bunch of shows at the Chain Reaction.
R.I.P. by the way. They just closed it down.
Same thing with us, dude. We played shows in Campbell, Santa Cruz, San Francisco, fucking Oakland.
So the
Anyway.
earliest video I can find of you guys live is at the Pharaoh's Den in Riverside.
Oh,
Play that
2009.
place a lot.
Yeah, that was
From Bucket of Afterbirth Productions posted the video in 2009, and they actually just filmed me at LA Extermination like 2 years ago. So they're still going. So
Wow.
that's pretty sick production.
But yeah, the whole
Still
slinging
going.
tickets thing like helped us like learn a work ethic. The fact that we like we're lucky enough to be right in the middle of all these cool music scenes, and we got like the people were like cool enough to let us like play those shows. We got to meet bands from all over the metal spectrum and pick their brains. And then like Church of the Eighth Day was who like got us on shows in LA, and that's how we got on Murderfest. That's how we met Obi, Joe Troutman. You know, that's we hooked us up with the Jumping Turtle and Joe from Showcase. Like those were our three dudes. If it wasn't for those dudes who know where Arkaik could be, you know, like that was like the perfect storm of all those things at that time. That like we learned the ropes all like really early on just how to be a band and how to hit people up and how to.
Did you guys do anything full scale before the Cannibal tour?
We did we
Black
did
Dahlia?
our first tour. So we put out Reflections in 2010, and then like shortly after, Eric's like, hey guys, like I got a tour, do you guys want to do it? And it was with Brain Drill and Flesh Consumed and another band called Halo of Gunfire.
Joel, is that the famous Brain Drill tour?
No, that was
this was Brain Drill's comeback tour after that stuff happened.
Okay.
They hadn't done a tour for a while, and Ivan was in the band. He had like he had joined like recently to that tour. And then they did that, they put an album out.
Was Ron Casey playing drums then?
Yes. Yeah,
because he was doing double
when you said Flesh Consumed and Brain Drill, I'm like, it's probably a double duty Ron Casey tour.
It was.
Yeah, he's a machine.
Yeah.
All cool guys too. Cameron, fucking Ron. That was a fun tour.
We're still friends with like all those guys.
Yeah,
that was 10 years ago.
Ivan, and on that tour, that's where it was a little rough. We were in our fucking Keith's minivan. It wasn't even like a van. It was a minivan. So we were all sleeping. Like there was no lay down room. We were just all sleeping in the middle, like sitting up, and it was hot. There was no AC. So that's when Eric was kind of like, you know what? I don't think this touring life's for me. But we had already kind of seen that coming, and we had already been talking to Ivan because Ivan was like, yeah, Brain Drill's like cool, but like like I'm down for something else too, and so we were like, all right, well, would you like to join our band? And do we have something else possibly coming up after that?
Well, that was the craziest thing is like Eric, who was like part of the trio from, we were together for like 4 years as a band. Eric was there. He was like more in it than, he would motivate me, and he was like a big part of our drive, and like so death metal, so like more death metal than I was, like just lived and breathed it.
He'd be in line at fucking In and Out, and then all of a sudden he'd be like singing a Suffocation song, like metal shreds. We'd be like,
Eric Cohen.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take Eric Cohen down a notch and myself down a notch too. So I actually lived in Sacramento for about 4 years. That's where he lives now. He lives over in That's actually where I ran into him. And so I was doing this like benefit thing that I got talked into, which was like, it's called Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. You have to wear high heels. You have to wear high heels, and you have to walk a mile in them. And like my feet were like bleeding. It was like the worst thing I've ever done. So I'm walking, and right ahead of me, I'm like, that guy looks familiar. And it turns,
you still had camo shorts on.
Yeah. And I turn around, and he turns the corner, and I'm like, that's fucking Eric Cohen, dude. I'm gonna go like run up to him in my high heels and like, oh, what's up, dude? Like, what are you doing here, man? What's going on? Like, I'm doing it with my work. What are you doing? I'm just kidding. No, but it was that's the last time I saw him, and we were cracking up.
So why is that taking you down a notch, dude?
Just because my fucking feet were bleeding.
Well, what's funny is to me is that you both were bass players, and like you both like were already retired from touring.
Yeah.
So you're like, hey, like how's life been since you haven't been in a band? Like click, clip, clop, clip, clop,
Oh man, it was just classic. It was just a classic coincidence. I was just like, dude, I mean, because I was like, I didn't want to. I was like, and just didn't want to walk in high heels. They got to, that sounds like
That's
a painful
the point,
experience.
Dude.
I know. I get it. I get the whole thing. I get it's for domestic violence.
I've done it
Real
too.
quick. So what kind of
Yeah.
conversations do you have while walking in high
We talked
heels
about,
for
he
a
actually
mile?
was telling me where he worked. He worked at a local Burgers and Brew in Sacramento. He's like, come down, have some drinks, and let's watch some football or something like that.
Clip.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like, dude, I literally took my shoes off, and my skin on my toe had peeled back and was just squirting blood out.
How many times did you roll an ankle like I see women do in those shoes?
Probably 3.
3.
I don't know, like
Solid.
360s like 10 times, dude. I don't know.
Dude.
Okay,
But
so
anyways, yeah, go back. Yeah.
so you do the tour. Eric leaves. You meet Ivan from that
Ivan.
tour.
And then did he join for the Severed tour? Yeah, or
No. Then it was Black Dahlia. Then we were like
shit.
shortly
Yeah,
after that in 2011, I think. So first tour was 2010. Then our second tour ever was Black Dahlia Murder and Goat Whore.
yeah.
And we're like, what? No way! And like, I'm pretty sure.
That's
I'm pretty
when
sure.
Eric left.
Yeah, well, yeah, and we like knew that it was like like, hey guys, I submitted you for this Black Dahlia tour. Like this was like 6 months before it happened, and we're like, what? No way! That would be so crazy if we got that.
Yeah.
And then we ended up getting it, and I think, like, I kind of feel like Eric, we might have found out about that on tour, and then we're like, Eric, what are you doing? Like, why would you leave, bro? Like, don't leave the band.
Yeah.
And then Ivan's right there, and he's like, "What's up, dudes? You guys are cool. Like, let's fucking do it." and he's and Ivan is in Brain Drill. He was like super crazy good, and we're like, "Dude, let's go. Let's level up. You're in.
You're in. Yeah.
So his first tour with us was Black Dahlia Murder, and then like after that, we got a Cannibal Corpse tour. So we're just like hitting the tour lottery.
When
for
did we
like
do the Severed tour though? I feel like we did the Severed tour
Right after that, I think.
It was
Not
right
too
after-
long
well,
after
it
the
was-
Cannibal tour. You guys were still hot off of the Cannibal tour, actually.
Yep.
You
So-
could tell.
I would have seen you guys because I went to the first night of the Severed tour at Tavern in Pacifica.
Winter's Tavern, yeah.
Winter's
Yeah.
Tavern. So did you guys play that night too?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
I saw you guys that night, and that was my first time seeing you guys. And
Full disclosure. So I'm gonna, with everything that you guys said from the album that you had handed me in that parking lot to Winter's Tavern. Full disclosure, didn't check anything out from that that window. Okay, I'm gonna be totally honest. Totally missed the first Unique Leader release, not because I just was I move around.
I wore your
dude,
guys'
and-
shirt and all the
Well,
album
dude,
covers and all
a
stuff.
lot of people like, it was our first record. We weren't like a known band at all. Like we were.
No, I'm not
unknown.
saying that, but you got to check me out. Like I'm a weirdo. Like for a while, I just like still to this day, like I'm probably the worst out of everybody on this podcast with new death metal.
You're probably
Yeah.
not as bad as me.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. We can compare on how many bands we don't know. I don't know how we can figure that out, but
You might.
I know, man. I'm
but
pretty
no,
I
I'm
might
just
win
saying.
that one. I don't know.
No, but I'm really just saying like that kind of
Yeah.
like it's one of those pockets where like it's funny how I engage so much in the metal scene and stuff like that, but it's like the lower percentage of genre that I listen to, I go through 10 plus genres a day, at least, but I'm just saying like,
Yeah.
so to go back to what I was saying, I missed all that. And then my reintroduction to Arkaik was that night. And so reintroduction still felt like a fresh introduction to me because it was in a live setting. I was seeing you guys coming fresh off the Cannibal tour and you guys had the fucking goods, and I'm watching Ivan up there too, which has already given me a natural connection because I had already worked with him a few times, and he's a good friend of mine, Before you guys call him the Chupacabra, he's always the mongoose first. Always the mongoose first.
Maybe like how Pokemon kind of evolved from like one thing to the other. Like the
Totally.
mongoose was like the first
Yeah.
incarnation of it, and then the mongoose morphed into a chupacabra, which is definitely a more like rare and like supernatural cryptid, if you will.
Yeah. Totally. And that's exactly how it works. It works perfect, just like that. But so that's cool that you guys came across him, and boom, now I'm in Severed, and we're touring together. We're starting out in my fucking hometown. We packed the fucking shit out of that place. You guys fucking rock. You guys really made me feel like, oh shit, we got to come hard for the next 3.5 weeks or whatever we were on tour, because I was like, these guys are going to be right below us every night.
Yeah, they're just like been on tour, just fucking in tour mode.
Oh,
There's something to be said about like when you get off a tour, you've been touring for, at least 3 weeks straight. Like you are a machine. Like I would just be like, I can drink whatever I want. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like I'm completely like locked in. Everything's going to be like it just all of a sudden it just turns on. You just and then you try different, you get more that stage presence where you're down. Oh, I'll go walk over there. I don't go fuck. I'll go walk over there. I'll go up to the drummer.
You got the tour chops and then like the tour fucking confidence.
And then you look at the video, you really only walked like 3 steps. Dude, I'm doing that same thing, dude. I'm sorry, Casey, if I'm peeking. I keep leaning in on the mic, dude. Fourth
all good.
God
so
damn.
I'm gonna work on it, dude.
You guys recorded the Metamorphic Ignition album in between some of these tours, right? Or was it after?
It
was before. That's what the album we were touring on for the Cannibal tour, right? Or
yeah. So I remember being in college away, not living in California. I'm from here, but I was away in school. And I remember when that album came out, and I was like, this new crop of tech death bands, and there's like so many of them coming from California. And I honestly like didn't check it out at the time. And I now think it was just kind of jealousy, because I like kind of sacrificed my chances of doing that at the time and like did the college thing. And so like looking back, it like holds up. It's so sick. And I like listen to that one a lot.
Dude,
now.
Those songs live
it's
every
super
night
sick,
were so
but
fun, dude.
One of the other things is that it takes a lot of time to like break into some of this albums, because they're like so technical. It's like it takes like 3 or 4 listens to really, so it's like a commitment. And I just didn't make it at the time. And then I saw you guys live. I thought we were sick. And I'm just gonna get ahead of myself, but Lucid Dawn is the one that I know it's not Chance anymore, but that's the one that for me, it's like, I love that album. So showing my hand.
Yeah,
but
sure, dude.
let's get there. Let's get there.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
where I'm in it.
That's a whole, so we put out Metamorphic Ignition. It's like definitely like hard for us to top that, because we were just at the time so like locked in as a band. Alex had just joined. He was just like on fire. Craig was on fire. Ivan had joined officially and recorded on that album. So we were just like really in it, and we worked really hard.
I'm sorry if you guys just mentioned it. I'm sorry I missed it. So that album was already recorded and released before we went out.
Yeah,
you guys were already selling that, because you guys were playing those songs off that album, but I didn't know if you had actually already released it before you guys came out with us.
Definitely before the Severed tour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
dude.
We were playing those songs on the Cannibal tour. So it was either on its way to coming out or it was already.
Do you guys want to do a couple stories from that tour or what, dude? Tell me some of your favorite moments of that tour. I know it was a fucking financial flop, but Chupacabras and Nola. No, let's let the Chupacabra tell his own Nola story.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to get Ivan on sometime.
Another thing, I'll just break it down. So I was thinking like, it's because we already have 4 of us plus, guests. So with this 6-panel thing, it's working pretty nice, when it comes to the band stuff. It's not that we wouldn't want Craig and Ivan on tonight. It would just be stacked so hard. So what I was thinking we could probably do a Craig and Ivan episode, and because they got the Arkaik and the Deeds connection.
Yeah, they're both had put a Deeds album out recently.
Yeah, so it's like they got the multiple connections there. We got connections with them, so that could be its own episode. It's not like we were trying to split everybody up. It's just like
we can add more people though.
I know, but it's just
it might be hard though, honestly. Like 8 people on a podcast.
But a lot of times I go to full screen when someone's talking, so.
But if you have like more than everybody wants at least like room to say their thing. So when you have that many people, that's like a lot of.
And that's more chances of people talking over each other, just like I did with Chance.
This is getting pretty meta right now.
Sorry,
Joseph like teaches classes of like 100 people.
I've done
Probably.
big Zooms. Yep.
Yeah.
300
Zoom.
person
So I'm
Zooms.
sure we could do it, but
Damn.
I mean, yeah, we're just
Yeah.
tiptoeing through this shit, just
I know,
trying
just-
to figure
I'm
it
just
out,
having fun.
But all right, so
So we put out Metamorph Ignition. And
Well,
that's,
he wanted a Cannibal Corpse story. Do you have any good Cannibal on tour with Cannibal
Yeah.
Corpse stories?
I mean, fucking being on the Cannibal tour bus and the bass player for fucking, we're all just getting shitty drunk every night, and like all the other dudes don't drink except for Corpse Grinder. So he's like, come on the bus and like come and hang out with me. And George is like the coolest dude ever. And we're just like chilling on the bus, and the fucking bass player for Exhumed is just like, he's a locomotive, like cranked to 11, and he just comes roaring through that fucking thing, like blackout drunk, and like fucking passes out in their fucking toilet face down, like rips the seat off, like fucks their whole thing up. And I just remember like waking up the next day and just hearing Matt like going like, fuck man, like what are we gonna do with fucking Bob? Like, like he just fucked up Cannibal's toilet. That's the only
man.
No, remember the routing show? Remember that routing show that we're on our way out to start the tour in like Florida or whatever. But we had to go through New Orleans, and I remember like loading in, just like stepping foot into the first venue in New Orleans, and I literally see a bar stool go from one side of the room to the other and just smash a table, and we're like, what was that? And it's
Body bag Bob.
Yeah, just going crazy. He's already like full blown blackout and like ready to beat some people up. And
dude,
like,
why does New Orleans do that to everybody, dude?
And New Orleans is a strange,
It's
a strange thing going on.
Of, like brutal voodoo and gnarly energy. That
I really think it is the energy, bro. It just it gets dark when you're there, dude.
Yeah. It's got 300
I've had a gun pointed at me there.
We had a gun pointed at us there, dude. Remember? Fuck, everybody's almost dying there just to play a show.
It's a hectic spot.
I'll play a show for 15 people, dude. And we're gonna die after as we're loading out our gear.
And it smells like Tijuana. I remember one of the other stories was that. Oh no, that was not that night. But on that tour, we thought it'd be a good idea to bring like a fucking, what was that, like a 14-foot fucking trailer. How big was that trailer we took? Because we were like, oh, we'll take a big
one. Yeah, it was like too big for the van. It was not a good trailer to van ratio. So
it was too much for that thing's transmission. So we blow a gasket like a third.
I remember you guys. That happened right after you guys left, right? You guys didn't. Was this something happened with your van in the beginning of a tour as well?
That
was you guys took off.
Psychroptic. That was like,
oh, that was later.
The
Sorry.
following year, I think that was 2015.
Okay. Let's not shoot ahead. I mean, dude, but it's go ahead.
Yeah. So the van starts like pissing out oil all over our trailer as we're driving, and it's like it starts to pile up on the front of the trailer and all the wind and stuff, and we're like, dude, something is wrong. Like, this is like not okay. Like, we have to fix this. But like, we didn't know anything, and like, we were in Colorado, and Ivan's like, dude, we looked at it, we kind of figured out, we think it's the oil pan gasket. So we drop off Chance, Keith, Craig. They like load stuff in and like get the show going, set up the table. We're like, we're gonna go to a Pep Boys and buy this gasket that they have, and we're gonna change this thing in the parking lot. So it was like literally like cold Colorado, high elevation.
Do you remember what vehicle it was?
It was a van. It was a Ford
E-Series.
It was
Econoline.
It was like an E150, but it was a work van, so it had no windows on the sides.
Yeah, cargo. So
yeah,
I was just thinking about, because I'm in automotive, so you could get underneath one of those and change that gasket pretty easily.
Yeah. I even did like a champ.
Yeah.
Totally did. No, I got a funny story. Here's a funny story. So our tour meets up with Behemoth's tour in fucking the middle of Kansas to do this fucking festival. And so it's a bunch of just fucking drunk, goobery California boys, like us and Exhumed, or like California boys, and the just like fucking drinking beers and board shorts and woohoo, like, oh yeah, bruh. And the other tour is like Watain and Behemoth and a bunch of fucking other weird Europeans. And so And we're out there in board shorts because it's like 100 degrees and 90% humidity, and they're all standing out there in like
sandals for life, bro.
Yeah, dude, black leather, and you know, we keep trying to make friends with those bands, and they're just like, we don't want anything to fucking do with you. And they put the beer in like the main green room, and so we're like going into the main green room just to grab beers, and then all of a sudden they say, hey, nobody can go into the green room, and we're like, why? And like, oh, Wattain's doing a thing, so we're like, oh, what the fuck, who cares? Because we're like, at this point we're blackout drunk, we haven't played yet, and we like burst into the thing, and they're like lighting candles, and they have their like pig things, and they're like, you guys can be in here. They're like incensed, and they're like doing this satanic ritual, and then it's just like super weird vibes, and you can smell the pigs that they have on stage. All their gear stunk like the pigs, and we're like, what? I'm sorry, like if we're messing your thing up, but like the beers are in here. And then like we went outside, and like the other bands were doing some shit, and I remember we were like we bought a bunch of crystals in Arizona because we're like stoked on that. We're like, these crystals are gonna keep our bands going. And like I wander up in board shorts and flip-flops, and like these other two dudes from one of the other bands are just sitting there with like an incense coil, and I was like, sick of you guys doing a ritual, like you guys want a crystal for your ritual? And they look at me like, they just give me this death stare, and then and don't even respond, and go look down. We're like, oh, all right, well, fucking, I guess, never mind. I guess you guys don't want crystals. And then we're like, then Mike's like, we're gonna play soccer. And you guys like soccer? Like, come play soccer with us. So we're all drunk out there playing soccer like retards. And none of the other bands, they're just sitting there watching us like pissed off. One, because they probably do respect soccer as a sport. Two, because we totally suck, and we kept kicking the ball and kept hitting their tour bus. And so like we're already not on good terms. So fast forward to the end of the night, super sick show, everything's badass, like it was the funnest thing we ever did. And we're at backstage, and we're hanging out, but Behemoth's on the couch, and they got their hot groupie chicks, and like it's me and Jared and like Mike and like one of the other dudes from Exhumed, and like one of the guys from Abysmal Dawn, and we're just having a blast because at this point we've been on tour together, we're all clicking, we're having fun, and we're just like all like the guys, we're all cracking everybody up, just like all drunk, telling goofy jokes, and the like Behemoth's like fucking groupie chicks are like laughing, and they're sitting there just like this, like. And so like Nergal goes up to sit in the bathroom, and Jared walks in because he was like outside doing whatever. He walks in, and he like sits in just the empty spot on the couch, which is the spot where Nergal is. And like, you know, and there was like Nergal, his chick, then the Behemoth guys, and then all the other guys. So Jared's like talking to Andy, who was in Abysmal, and then Nergal comes out and like gives this death stare to Jared, and like like everyone's oblivious, and one of the dudes from Behemoth like leans over and is like, hey, if your friend wants to keep his head, he should probably get out of that seat. And we're like, whoa!
Yeah, and I go, oh wait, and I like figure out what's going on, and he's like, I would not want to hurt you, so get out of my seat or some shit like that. Like I was like, oh, all right, brother, this is your seat, man. It's all you. So yeah, it was funny.
There's a better way to go about it.
There's
totally
also
it sounds like I don't want to hang out with that dude at all.
I've hung out with him. Yeah,
he's very serious. Was super serious all the time, and it got to the point where we knew they didn't want anything to do with us, and they were over serious. So we kept trying to make friends with them and like be overly nice on purpose because we knew it was pissing them off. Like I remember Mike's like, I'm gonna go try, like check this out, watch this. I'm gonna go walk up there. I'm gonna try to give him some beers. And like he walks up there and he's got his like Coors Light fucking 18 packs. Like, hey, I got cold beers. You guys want cold beers? All cold beers. And they're all like, they're just like looking at him. One of the guys is like, yeah, here's beers, you know. And then like they're all like stop looking, making eye contact. And Mike's like, all right, dude. Well, we're gonna be barbecuing in like 25 minutes. You guys welcome to come on over. And we're all like watching behind the van, like they're so weird. Like, but that's the thing I remember. That's my funny story from that.
Well, I mean, I guess that's the cool thing about metal is the diversity, you know.
And we probably were obnoxious fucking Americans, like, you know.
Whatever, dude. Whatever.
Well, you know, another funny thing that happened that same night was that Watain, this was just the one show we did with Watain, and one of the guys said to Alex Bent, who at the time was like really like openly Christian and had like would wear a cross, and the guy's like
nothing crazy, like a little necklace with a cross, you know, like
little necklace, cross necklace, and the guy's like, you might want to put that away unless you want to get hurt or something like that. Like kind of said like, dude, I wouldn't wear that around.
This is like making me upset because I love Alex so much, dude. If I was there, dude, I would have had some words.
Like, you told us that, and I was like, "Where? You mean be a Christian in the middle?"
We're like,
I would have had some
in Oklahoma,
words, dude.
Like you got it fucked up. Like
we're like in the Bible Belt. We're like, what are you talking about? Like,
yeah,
like I don't know. It's funny.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It turned into like a National Lampoon's thing. Like, how much can we annoy these the other band, and how much can we ruin their like satanic rituals because we're like opening the door to grab beers, and it was funny.
I wonder if they do those rituals and then they still fuck up at the shows, and then they're like, wait, Satan, where were you at, dude?
Yeah.
Well, it's because that motherfucker came in and got beer in the middle of it, and it fucked up my whole show.
Oh yeah, dude. You guys totally fucking threw off the vibe, dude.
You distracted Satan.
That night, the ritual didn't work, and somebody missed a kick. He had popcorn double kick somewhere, dude.
Yeah, they couldn't get their van started in the morning. Actually, no, that was us. Remember, Chance? We couldn't get our van started after that.
You're like,
Dude, they fucking cursed you, bro, because
I think they did, dude. I think they did curse us. We had to reverse the curse.
Yeah.
We like literally
crystals.
It was the crystals. We like put them in the door like forever.
Nice,
like we'll
dude.
never get the crystal back out because it's like this. We took the walls out of the door, out of the van and stuff. And
and this is like where our like it really started. Like we were like there's a huge part of our tour that was running on good magic and just fucking the belief that it would work out, because we couldn't get it started all night. We're like, we're gonna wake up tomorrow and maybe it'll be different for some reason. I remember like it wasn't starting, so I get out and me and Jared start getting out and rocking the van and going, we love you. We named our van Gaia because that was our home. It's like
Nice, dude. That's
so
my
we love
name.
you, Gaia. We love you and appreciate you. We love you. We love you. We love you. And all of a sudden it was like, and then
we start screaming louder, like, you can do it. You can do it, van. And like Craig and Alex wake up and they're like, what the fuck are they yelling about? And they're like, come on, guys. Like, we're going to get it started. It's happening. Like, then it, like, we all were like yelling in unison, like, you could do it. We love you. And then it started and we're like, all right, let's get the fuck out of here. We're like 5 hours late. Like,
and then it literally worked the rest of the tour until the last show in Pensacola. And that's when it was like
when you guys came up against what do they call? I was gonna call them Wu-Tang.
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 Different kind of ritual at that show in that green room.
This was
a much more positive, welcoming ritual.
Yeah. No, but that magic got us through the rest of the tour until Pensacola. And that's a eerie story too, because then we're like, fuck, we don't know what we're gonna do. Like we ended up, I think my brother got us a hotel room, so we stayed the weekend because it was Cinco de Mayo weekend, and so we partied fucking our asses off on the beach and everyone got insanely sunburned. I remember Craig literally was ketchup red, like from falling asleep drunk on the beach, and he's already like a fair-skinned guy.
Yeah, he is.
You know,
or he was at least. I haven't seen him in a while, but yeah, I remember him being a little fair on the tour as well. Well, he would always stay covered, dude. He would cover himself. Didn't he wear a hoodie the whole time? And we were going through like lower United States in the summer, and he's wearing a hoodie.
Yeah. That's right.
But yeah, so that's that crazy tour. That album is when we decided to do our multi-album like theme, the Metamorphignition. That's when we were like, we're gonna come up with a story, and we're gonna be able to let it carry out through fucking as many albums as we can, so we can create our own universe and our own mythos. And so Metamorphignition is when we started that whole thing too, that whole story.
Yeah, Chance, like for people who have made it 2 hours, congratulations. But like for people who, like I should have said this earlier, like Chance wrote all the lyrics for a long time. So, and Chance read a lot more literature, like he always read books and stuff. So he had a way better vocabulary than me. And I was like, well, I'll just, like, you write the lyrics, I'll scream them. Like, you're better at it than me, so you can do that. And then like you wrote like pretty much almost all the lyrics for Metamorphignition. Like I maybe wrote a few words or phrases in the whole album, but you wrote all that. Like Stream of Consciousness came up with the Syrinx character. And then we're like, all right, Syrinx is going to be like the main character, and he's going to kind of have this like astral projection, like near death experience where he like lights himself on fire, and then has this out of body experience, kind of goes around the different parts of the universe and gets shown all this stuff by these sirens. And we have this whole elaborate like thing where he like goes through the desert at the end, and then like he walks through this
infinite curtain and meets like this deity that's like the incarnation of the all, like that is energy that creates and sustains all this, that ends and lives, and then it basically meets God, and then it wakes up from his near-death experience after like experiencing all the traumatic things that he was running from that made him kill himself. So he comes back healed from all that. So now, like at the end of the album, he comes back as the wounded healer. So all the other albums are him like taking on the realm that he's in and like overcoming opposition and just like basically telling more of the story. So on Lucid Dawn, like Jared got a lot more involved in writing lyrics. So like and
because that's when after when we did the Severed Savior tour, this is what happened. This is basically what happened. We did the Severed Savior tour. It was shot compared to Cannibal Corpse. So like we did Cannibal Corpse, and then like a couple months later we did Severed Savior, and like we had some good shows on that tour, but it was nothing compared to that. And I think like Craig was like burnt out from doing like the last couple years of touring, and then doing this tour where like we really didn't make any money. It was really hard. He was really in debt, and he kind of had to make this decision, like, do I keep going down this road and like struggle and like be in debt and like have to look for a job all the time, and like I'm already taking care of my mom and my brother, and like he had a lot on his plate. And then after the tour is done, we're like I think Craig is like not in it. Like he definitely had a switch that happened. And then all our gear got stolen. Remember that? That was after that tour. So we had our trailer up in near Ivan and Alex, which was like Modesto area. It was Manteca actually. And then somebody broke into the trailer and stole Chance's amp, his head.
All my
Ivan, their rack, both of their Craig and Chance's racks, Vader cabs, 6505s, RPA, and we got all of our stuff stolen except for Alex's drums, and
our guitars. Luckily, me and Craig
and the guitars. And then
Craig
was like, this was 2013 or 2012. In between 2012 and 2013.
Yeah.
And Craig was like, yeah, he's out. So then when Craig left, he was like the strongest member of the band, like technically and like death metal wise, and like he like definitely brought the band to a new level and like maintained it. And then Chance had been getting into electronic music, so this is kind of where Chance goes down a different road. And basically like their stuff got stolen. Craig quit. Then Chance was like, well, I think I'm just going to do electronic music now. I'm still down to like help out with like lyrics and ideas, and we're not going to not be friends or whatever. But Chance and Craig left at the same time. And then Alex
on that, because I have been thinking about stepping down as a guitar player for a while, because it was just like getting really gnarly and all the new stuff that they were writing. Like Craig wanted to record all the guitars on the first album, and so I was like, oh cool, is that where you're gonna do it again? And I just didn't have the technique to be a death metal shredder. Like I never really sat down and practiced all that much. Like if this was like a stoner sludge band, like I'd probably still be playing guitar for it. But it got to the point where I was just like live, I couldn't really have fun because I was worried about fucking up. And then when it came to like learn new songs for the tour, like it's just too hard for me because I never got good at learning songs. So I'm like, fuck, like they should.
Real quick before you continue, I was just going to say, you were the type of live guitar player that you were a very, very energetic guitar player. So I could see why you're saying like you had a live aspect to you as an artist as well that you wanted to keep, and the music might have been getting a little bit more gnarly for you to be getting down the way that you were, because you were the fucking guy that was getting down, dude. You got down hard while you were playing all that shit, and I was like, whoa, dude, this dude knows what's up. So that's why when I'm hearing you say that you didn't have the chops, like when you were out on the road with us, dude, I didn't see you fucking up.
Yeah.
Were you fucking up while you were getting down the way you were? Because I didn't see it.
I had gotten to the point with tour chops. I felt like I was pretty good. Like if we would have stayed consistently on tour, I might not have felt like I wasn't what Arkaik needed as a guitar player. But when we had those long breaks in between tours, like I would lose the tour chops. I'd kind of get back to the place where I was, but also like Ivan was writing riffs, and then Ivan's and Craig's riffs are super hard, and I'm not good at sitting and looking at tabs and being like, okay, yeah, I can learn that. Like that shit was like, I was like, they should probably get a guitar player that can like do that, because I feel like I'm not that good. I'm lazy. And I don't have the fucking chops that we need, but I still like everything else. Like I still like the other part of Metamorphignition that was my baby was all the like psychedelic noise interludes. Like I was like, my goal like isn't to leave Arkaik, and I guess I'll say it on the podcast. Like I still consider myself a member of Arkaik. Like I'm still in Arkaik. But like I just felt
too.
like
That's why you're on this podcast right now.
Like I didn't know Craig was going to quit too. So like I was like, I'll step down as guitar player. They'll have Craig. They can get somebody else that's like another Craig, and like that's what Arkaik.
Well, yeah, you left, and then when you left, Craig was like, all right, well, I'm out.
Yeah, and I was like, fuck, like I didn't know that was going to happen. Like, because I was like, if they have Craig and they get another Craig, then like, dude, then sky's the fucking limit. I'll like still contribute riffs, because I had some riffs on Lucid Dawn, like 1 or 2, but I was like, I'm still down to do all the psychedelic noise interludes. I'm still down to like do and help out with all the lyrics and the conceptual ideas. Like I'm still down to be in Arkaik. I just want to switch roles. You know what I mean? And from the outside looking in, it probably just looked like, oh, like I quit. You know what I mean? But I've still been a part of every single album that they put out in one way or another, you know, whether it's psychedelic noises and lyrics. You know, like Lucid Dawn, I had there's a whole 11-minute psychedelic like fucking outro, you know, that I have. You know, I have like an 11-minute piece on Lucid Dawn. And then Nemethia, you know, like now that Jared's more into the lyrics, like I'm not writing them all. Me and him are collabing super hard and like coming up with the stories, because you know Jared's saying I was the first one to start really getting into books, but now Jared reads as many, if not more, books than me, and is into all the same shit as me. So now we collab crazy hard on the story. And when I would decide to get into electronic music, that kind of helped later on, because now that just helped my sound design and like my keyboards, and like I think where Arkaik's gonna keep going when it comes to all the other elements to add, like it's just gonna get even cooler.
That new album's going to be like a lot, you know, we're going to lean heavy into what we've kind of been doing, you know, more and more each album. But like this one, both of us have gotten better at production, and like, so we can really like make it the super crazy sonic experience. And we really want to tie everything in, like Metamorphignition. And this album's really technical, whereas like Lucid Dawn was like, I was like, dude, I want to do songs that like aren't so hard for everybody else in the band to play. I have the easy job because I just do the screaming and stuff. But like, why don't we do some songs where it's like not just like, you know, a full 45 to a minute run of blast beats? Like, why don't we add some more groove? And I actually wrote some riffs on that album too, because I could still kind of play guitar. And I programmed all the drums for that album. And then at the time, so when Chance left or like, you know, stepped down for playing guitar, and Craig left, it was me and Ivan and Alex was still down. Ivan was still down. And so we needed to find 2 new guitar players. And so Alex Bent's best friend, Miguel, they were in a band before. And I had moved up to Modesto, to be closer to like Ivan and Greg, who we got another guitar player, Greg, that joined. So I was able to like get 2 new guitar players that were really good into technical death metal. Like they were like, you know, the level that we needed of player. They were into the same stuff, like their style complemented what we were already doing. And so that was like the next like lineup. And that was like, we did like a tour with like Arsonist, Get All the Girls, and then we did a tour with like Psychroptic. And meanwhile, as these like tours are happening, and there's also like long breaks where we didn't tour, which sucked, and we all had to like find jobs, and like that's the hardest part of like being in a band, is like being able to leave for a month. And so we're all like trying to just make it work, and like, you know, that part of it sucked because we couldn't just be on tour all the time. We didn't have like a solid booking agent at the time. It was like Eric getting us like decent tours here and there, and then like us, like we hooked up with like a lower level booking agent, and he like booked a couple tours. But but Alex Bent, everybody started to want Alex Bent to be their drummer all at the same time. And so like we had to find fill-in drummers. So we got like Ron Casey from, he was in Brain Drill, like Inanimate Existence. I don't think had been, Inanimate Existence was a thing. And Ron Casey came in and filled in for the Psychroptic tour we did, where the van broke on the first day, like an hour into the first drive, transmission totally shot. Ivan came from LA, where he lived at the time, to pick us up in his car and pull the trailer to LA, where we put the trailer on Psychroptic's van, and they towed the trailer around and we were sharing gear. So it was kind of a win-win. But I did an entire tour in a small 4Runner car, like with 4 dudes. And then Ron rode in Kennedy Vale's van. So like there was this, the next stage was like Lucid Dawn, Miguel and Greg, Alex, but he's not really that present in like the writing and stuff because he's on tour with Decrepit Birth. He's on tour with Battlecross. Testament pulled him to do some shows. So he's like getting all these big tours, and he's like touring with Battlecross a bunch. So I had to kind of like figure out what to do with the drummer. Like, how do we, like, I want Alex in the band. He's like one of like the best drummer we could find.
And just such a nice guy, like awesome to tour with, like, you know, like a great dude just to have as the team, you know, like.
I got to meet him when my band Transcend the Realm opened for you guys at that Slide Bar show. Alex was super nice, super cool to talk to. I think he had already joined Trivium at that point, so got to like congratulate him on that. And he just
he's continually gonna be one of the humblest guys in the whole scene. He's just
yeah, he's like the humblest and the most hardworking too. He's just like a good friend. Like he'll call me out of nowhere and just to talk, and I'm like, oh, dude, it's good to hear from you. You know, he's like moved to Florida just like a little bit ago to get the airplane hangar studio thing going for Trivium, and they like really need him over there. So like I think Alex deserves that more than anybody, and Trivium gets the benefit of having them having him in the band. But that was a hard part because Alex was being getting all these tours. Like he toured with Angel Vivaldi, and then so I had to find a drummer, and then we did a couple tours. We did like Psychroptic, and we put out Lucid Dawn, and then we put out Nemathea in 2017. Did a couple more tours, and then and then that's kind of like, not too long ago, and we've had that Miguel, started a family, like got a really good job, so he couldn't tour, which sucked. But like a lot of like even Ivan eventually left because he got a really good job and
had a family.
And
yeah, dude. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I stopped touring, because started making humans.
Rightly so. Like you got to be, you can't just like, leave and I mean, it's not an easy thing to do.
I mean, the one that I did with you guys, I had already had my firstborn. He was 9 months when I left, and then I came back when he was 10 months, and I noticed the difference just from 9 to 10 months, and I was like, I don't know if I want to miss any more of this,
Yeah.
So,
and with death metal, like you really gotta like get on a good booking agency or work extra hard to get a return on your investment, because there's so many bands that want to do it, but it's just hard to make a living if you're not constantly out there all the time grinding. I mean, it's definitely possible you can do it, and people do it. And I think I'm not to try to say, oh, you can't make money being in a touring death metal band, but it's a grind that if you have a family, that it kind of takes priority. It's kind of a one or the other. Like if you don't have like humans to cultivate, you could probably put in the work. But if you want to cultivate a death metal band or cultivate humans, it's kind of like
but it doesn't really, I don't really stray from my core drive of doing this in the first place, which is art is first. So it's like, as long as I'm creating, I'm I'm feeding that side of me that needs to be fed, and I could still go to work every day and raise my children, be there enough, obviously having to work. But that's, since I have to work, I want to double down and make sure that I'm around in other ways, and other times. And so as long as I'm just creating, then it's all good, dude. I just need to keep making shit. That's it. I mean, performing is great, dude. Like that's a whole different thing. And it's a great feeling to be up there, and I will do it again for sure. Obviously, none of us can right now, but no doubt I'll never stop doing that. But it's just like anything that'll pull me away from what I'm doing right now too much, unless it's ridiculous money, which, come on now, that's not going to happen. So it's just like, we'll do some stuff eventually when we can.
All I heard from that is make me an offer.
Yeah. Hey,
someone out there.
There is a number. There is a number.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to say,
yeah.
I didn't realize, Chance, that you did all the like sound design, but I just recently got super high and listened to the Lucid Dawn outro, and I love the Terrence McKenna, Alan Watts mashup there. It's so good. And we kind of do that in Transcend the Realm. I don't know if we ripped you off or whatever, but we also have long outros. I actually think And Time Begins might be the first death metal band album that did something like that, but they've kind of evolved to now have intelligible, sound bites and stuff. But yeah, that's a really good one. The Reclaim Your Mind. I mean, it's just, it adds to the experience of falling asleep to it or whatever, listening to it, and it just
you can listen
takes
to
you somewhere beyond the
dudes.
death metal, so
either one of those guys I can listen to for hours. I can listen to both Terrence and Alan talk for however long I want.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Well, that was the other thing we tried to do too, though, is we wanted to take the listener on an experience, because I was really influenced by albums like Dark Side of the Moon that from start to finish there's no space in between. It's this journey, and in between songs there's these cinematic experiences. Or another big one that warped my brain backwards was Mars Volta and like Francis the Mute. That every interlude in between Francis the Mute, it's a whole experience. It's like a
shout out to Trevor. Where's he at, Joel?
I actually just ran into him in the hallway in his boxer shorts.
Tell him we're talking about his favorite Mars Volta album right now, dude.
Yeah.
So he actually got me into that. Yeah. He's basically, that's a band that I've always been kind of not given a fair shake. And there's been a couple times where the Mute, what was it? Francis the Mute or something? Yeah. He was like, dude, you gotta fucking check it out. And I was like, we were, playing pool and just going damn, it's actually fucking pretty legit prog. I don't know. It's totally legit. But anyways, keep going. I didn't.
But yeah, that's what we always wanted to do too. Is we wanted to create a whole experience. You know what I mean? That was not just 9 songs and in between. Nothing, a whole from start to finish. You don't want to listen to the album unless you listen to the whole thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's and that's any band can do that too.
That doesn't work anymore in 2020. This is all about singles, Spotify. The industry's changed, brother. You can't just put out albums. Nobody buys physical, bro. This is not how it happens.
Nope. It's fucking to-go packets, bro. That's all it is.
Yeah. We put them in. We got small 30-second sound bites that you can download for 1 Bitcoin each.
Ringtones.
Yeah. What happened to ringtones, bro?
I know.
We got ringtone. We take Bitcoin for a ringtone.
Ringtones.
Does Arkaik have a TikTok?
No, we don't.
We take a bit tone for a ring-toing.
Dude, my favorite new metal band was Bit Tones.
Nice.
But yeah.
Oh man.
So yeah, dude, I mean, we're kind of current right now. I mean, is there anything that you guys feel like you left out on this?
I mean, that's the big scoop. That's the origin story, and basically everything up till now. I've got a couple. We found a solid drummer, which is thank God. That's the hardest thing to find, is somebody who doesn't have popcorn feet with their double bass and can play up to par and stuff. So we just went. I flew up to Seattle, and our guitar player Alex did too, and Seattle's where Nathan lives. Nathan Bigelow, who's our drummer, and he just shredded through that whole album, and we just kind of got to be there and kind of be like, oh, what if you tried this, or like I heard something like you could do that part better, and kind of just, we haven't hung out. Like, we were supposed to go to Europe, and then for the first time, and then COVID happened. I'm sure we would have done some more tours this year. With our album was supposed to come out, we were supposed to record it in April, but the studio was, locked down, and so like everything got put on hold. I like got all the wind taken out of my sail, and I was just like, felt no urgency to do anything, because I literally couldn't do anything. So the year, I mean, for all musicians has been rough, but with that being said, we did get into the studio. We recorded all the drums, almost all the guitars are done. Ivan is going to play bass on it.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
And then I just got a new mic, so I'm gonna put that baby to use and record all the vocals here. And we're gonna
been working on the lyrics with them.
Yeah, we got about 3 songs worth of lyrics. We got pretty much the whole story mapped out, and this is gonna be a part of a 3-part album series of stories. So we're gonna take the story and basically chop it into thirds. And he's already got, I don't know if I should spill the beans on the artwork.
Yeah, you can.
All right, so I won't. But basically, we're gonna take this part of the story, chop it into a 3-album epic. So
a trilogy, if you will.
Yeah, it's a second trilogy now.
Yeah, it's trilogy number 2, because Metamorph, Lucid Dawn, and Nemethia were the trilogy, and that kind of like built everything up and introduced all the characters. And like each album kind of introduced a little bit more of the story, and it's kind of it's almost like all a prequel for like what's happening now. Yeah, if it was like a series of books, right? The first 3 would be individual stories, right? Like that would be like
within the same universe.
Yeah, like no, like it would have been like, they'd have been their own book. This next one is actually, we're going to be releasing 3 or whatever it is, 8 chapters per album of the novel. So you're going to get a piece of the novel, and then on the third one, you're going to get the last bit of the whole novel. So it's going to be, we're like chopping the story up into.
And I'll be 40, and then I'll be 40. By that time, that's the goal. We're long-term planners.
Well, dude, hey, 40's the new what? 40's the new 30 or whatever.
Yeah,
you got time, bro. Dude, there's plenty of dudes in their 50s that are still rocking it, dude. So we're all good.
Yeah, metal, rock, you could go as long as you
rocking
can possibly
it is
physically do it.
A general term. I meant like just rock, whatever.
Just drink water, stay hydrated.
Exactly.
Yes, always,
vitamins.
Yeah. We don't actually know what like the upper age limit is of like death metal, because we're just hitting it now. Like, Pete is still playing for Terrorizer, right?
Yep.
So it's crazy.
But look at every band that we never thought we'd hear from again that's having like comebacks. Like, we're in an age where like you could have been a 90s band that like had a hit and then fell off the face of the earth, that there's a whole new generation of people that are like, we love that shit. And then you can go and fucking tour. Before COVID hit, like the fucking casino circuit was a thing, like Stained and Mighty Mighty Boss Tones came out of nowhere. They're all these bands are touring again. You know, like I want to go see Real Big Fish, Stained, and Flogging Molly at the casino.
I wonder. So some bands are gonna like be that in like that, and like be those legendary bands or legacy bands that like still play. Like there's they're gonna be on the big rock metal festival next year if that happens. But like think about how many bands were like kind of doing shit and like they're on track and like shit's going for them, and then COVID hits, and like think about how many bands won't survive this period. Like somebody will get married or somebody will start a family, or like the main person is just like, well, maybe I've kind of been wanting to check out and this is the perfect time to do it. So the band like there's going to be a lot of bands who don't ever make another album because of this huge like roadblock, right?
And on top of that too, like all the venue closures, like that's going to be detrimental. Like that's a huge deal. That's like the number one thing that scares me is all the like
Well,
all the like. I mean, there's there's Chain Reaction just closed like 2 weeks ago. That's like a
I think
legendary.
Chain got saved though. I think
I know they were trying to save it. Did they save it?
I think they saved it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
well,
But
I
the,
think
but the
when
point
the
stands,
demand,
a lot of venues are down. Yeah.
Or we could all hash a bunch of money together, and right now after COVID, we could just get the Pound reopened. You know?
Dude, the last time I checked, it was
I've been
like
there. I was there.
plant
It's
store,
a plant
right?
place. Yep, I walked through it. It was it was a fucking trip. It's like all the outdoor stage area is just a bunch of plants, and it just still has that sliding door in that outdoor stage area.
Yeah.
And you walk into the plant store, which is the Pound, and you're just like, what the fuck? Just go check it out. I mean, if it's back open, I don't know. Go check it out. It'll
Cargo
blow your
Way
mind.
off 3rd Street.
Yep,
Take the Cesar Chavez exit.
Just don't, when you're leaving, don't make a left, make a right. Don't go through Hunter's Point.
but you know what though? I think like when music does come back and we're allowed to gather in large groups and hug each other and mosh around and sweat, whenever that is, I think that the demand will come back. And like just like economics, like some guy who like just killed it in Shopify stocks is going to be like, well, I got the money to start a venue, so let's call it this. And
Totally.
if the demand's there and people want to go to shows,
That's
like
true.
I don't think that the venues, like some venues are going to die and never come back, right?
But there'll be a
Like,
bunch of new ones. Is what
but
you're saying.
yeah, like how, I mean, you could just somebody just needs to buy the building, and then the demand's there, and then the business
and the
happens.
building will be cheaper because of COVID. Everything will,
like
there'll
the
be
people
more
that
like
wanted to start venues before COVID, they started venues. So post COVID, the people that want to start venues are going to be able to start venues again. But Jared had another interesting point. Like as a band and a musician, not that it's necessarily a competition or anything, but it's going to be a whole different playing field for whoever wants to keep it going after COVID. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of like who's gonna be there still doing it? Like, is that gonna make more opportunities for the people that keep it going? Because the playing field's gonna have less people in it. Like that's kind of an interesting thing too.
Yeah,
totally. I was just thinking when you were saying that, like, yeah, it's like it levels the playing field almost. It like I was comparing it in my head when you were talking to like when I bought my house in 2011. The market was super low. I got in because of the market being low. Well, there's going to be a lot of people gonna take advantage of opportunities as soon as they come, and it's gonna be in the live music industry as well. So I think that there will be an interesting bounce back. I don't know how it's going to be. There's going to be new versions. There's going to be new versions of all the places that we've talked about tonight. For the next generation, they're going to have their showcase theater. They're going to have the Pound. It's going to be there. There's no way that underground music is going to be, pushed out of the market of live music because of this.
One other thing that's kind of on the same tangent is that, like the tour, like the way that musicians, like let's say like a really popular band, like their lifestyle and their schedule is like really bad for mental health. Like so many musicians I know like stop touring, or they, it's not like sustainable, like being on tour 9, 10, 11 months a year, something like that. Like you can't have a life. It's like not good it's like you don't need to tour that much. And then since COVID happened, it's like other things have like now live streaming is much more of a acceptable thing. Like you can have a home entertainment experience now with your favorite band. They're selling tickets, and you can get merch.
I missed it, and I'm super bummed. Bungle just did one for Halloween, dude. I'm like, fuck, man. I wish I had time to watch that. They only do it for like 3 days after you can do it, though. That's what sucks. It's like one thing about these live stream things. Like I wish they would like let it go longer, or maybe even you like buy the motherfucker. So
Chance came over for you were over here for that Pussifer thing.
Yeah,
they fucking killed it. I was
that
like,
was
oh
badass.
my god, Jesus! Like there's just a huge art piece they created, just with them playing and stuff like that. And I was sitting there just like not really the biggest Pussifer fan, and walked out of that going like, holy shit, these guys are fucking killing right now. Like they're probably the top of the the internet age with post COVID stuff like that going. they're killing it. That's like the coolest thing I've seen a band do. And now the bar is there now. So now it's like now other bands have to like really come through and like, I mean, you have to really try to do something different and cool. You have to be creative. You have to use that part of your brain to try to like adapt and overcome, you know?
That was cool about the Suicide Silence thing, dude. With DK doing a different show every night. See, that's what's cool. They had access to a stage that they were able to set up and stream from every single night, and then they set up all these like other things that were like perks. That is exciting about the current times. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it can help mitigate the insanity of touring like all the time and like
like
that
they can go home to
lifestyle.
their families if they had a family. Like
maybe they don't have to tour so much to make a living if they can make as much money on one live stream show that the whole world can attend, and in between a more healthy touring schedule that gives them the ability to like have a life besides like just night after night. Not that there's anything wrong with that or that's not cool or anything.
Well, once everything gets back to normal, obviously the best thing to do is go to a live show.
But you could still have that option of like, you still have that cool different option to do something digital or do, because we have this ridiculous technology on, at our fingertips now where we could, do what we're doing right now. Like, high definition, 6 people talking at the same time, like you can take that and do something creative with it. And it's been impressive to see what's coming from that.
Totally, dude.
So gonna be an Arkaik live stream is what you're saying?
Yeah. So it's going to be at in that room that Jared's in right now, Casey's old room.
Yeah, the historical death metal house of Santa
so
Cruz.
Wait. Oh, so you're in Casey's old room. Okay, so I'm walking down the hall. I turn right to go in there, correct?
Yep.
All right. So
no. I'm in like the room that's connected to the living room.
Yeah. So you walk in,
you're in the big room.
You walk in, make a right, right?
Oh, to me that was Josh's room.
That's Josh's room. It's Josh's room too.
He's in Josh's room, the biggest room.
Little throwback on the whole situation. So I used to decrepit. That house is basically the most death metal house in Santa Cruz by far. There was one memory that I have where Animosity's practicing in the living room, Brain Drill's practicing in not your guys' room, but the room across the hall. And then Odious is practicing in my room at the same time. Like I remember just going walking to go take a piss and just it's like so much like so many riffs at once. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is I just sat there in the middle of the hall, I remember, and just sat there and just soaked it in for a second. Like, this is insane, dude.
Yeah, it is pretty wild to think about it now. But you didn't think about, you're saying in the moment you felt that at that time, and you'd have those little moments and stuff, but really it's just then you just snap back into it and you got to go do what you got to do. Got to go get on the microphone, got to go get on the bass, got to go get on the guitar and
was
fucking
someone
do
from Animosity living in the house, or is it
no? So we were good friends with Chase and they had a drummer, Naveen too. Yeah, Naveen and Chase, and they had actually at the time Naveen couldn't do a tour or something, and they had a drummer they were trying out. I forget his name. Fuck, he's gonna kill me. But yeah, super good drummer. And he was just he was basically just drove down from LA or something, was trying to learn the songs 3 days before leaving for tour, learning Animosity songs. And they were just I could tell they were in full stress mode, just fuck, we got to get this done. And so they were just going through and, yelling at each other and stuff like that. But that was definitely, I've had some, especially just at that house is, the Mr. Bungle. I've had Trey from Mr. Bungle be there and just hanging out. And I was he left and they're oh, who is that? They're oh, it's Trey from Mr. Bungle. I'm that house has brought so many random musicians in and, and parties.
You just walk
and stuff
in there
that.
and the guitar player the Seamus guitar player from a Stratosphere is shredding on fucking
Kevin.
He's doing Yngwie
guitar.
Malmsteen. Yeah. I know.
And it's just oh, okay.
There's a million memories in that house.
What's going on, dudes?
And they were talking about ripping it down, and actually Jared and his girlfriend Shara made that aware, and bunch of us got on this this group call to try to save it. And Carrie, I was waiting forever. I was at work, and I finally had to hang up. And Carrie said he got on and spoke to save that house. But that house is pretty fucking legendary. And
Yeah,
Casey's
dude.
actually, yeah, totally, yeah. Casey, Josh, David. Those are the original three.
Yeah.
I think of that house, right, Casey, of the Furniture Dome.
Yeah, we found it.
Yeah.
2005.
So how did you find
Yeah.
it? So you guys are on what was it, Yosemite? Is that what it is? What was the first house? The original
Oh,
Thunderdome
Younger
was-
Way.
Younger. Why am I saying it? Well, why?
Yeah.
So then you
Yeah.
guys are moving out of there, and then how'd you guys find the Furniture Dome?
Oh,
Just
like
looking in the classifieds or some shit?
Craigslist or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that was a great find, dude, because there's been tons of fucking memories there.
Yeah.
Plenty of podcasts for that place, dude.
I know.
Totally.
It's a little Santa Cruz fucking pound.
Yeah, dude. Did we ever actually perform? Like, did we ever have like? No, we only had the party shows at the first Thunderdome.
The Thunderdome, yeah.
Yeah,
Back
But
in the
I
day.
went to house shows at Furniture Dome in the interim period when Riley and Chantel lived there. Yeah,
Oh,
I saw
okay.
some shows there. Yeah,
What kind of bands are playing?
more like black metal-y, doom metal-y, like that side. Yeah, not like tech, but you know.
Yeah.
But
Fuck yeah.
sounds like it's maybe time to.
Yeah, I think we probably should wrap this in. How long? We've probably been going for 2.5 or something like
We're at
that.
2.5. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good length if you made it this
Yeah,
far.
dude.
Thanks.
Totally. This is fucking great.
Oh,
dude.
hold
No,
on.
we're at 3.
We got a couple of questions from the fans.
Oh yeah, we didn't even get to anything, dude.
Yeah,
Okay, go
there's
for
just a few questions this time. So if you guys are down,
Yeah.
JD Letris says, "What makes the perfect death metal song? What does the ideal sonic embodiment of what death metal is look/sound like to you?" Like 2 questions. So first, perfect death metal song. What makes the perfect death metal song?
That's hard. I mean, you guys are into
I'm
death
muted.
metal.
It's called Kronos. Listen to the last Kronos album.
Yeah.
Just brutality, a certain level of high
Oh, yeah.
brutality, certain level of groove, precision, some solo sauce in there, brutal vocals, good riffs and song structure that makes sense.
Yeah.
What do you
How
think,
about
Chance?
yeah, go ahead, Chance.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, like good songwriting, but memorable riffs, a solo that like makes you feel something. I would say like fucking solid vocals that are like not too far one side or the other, like not too goofy burp metal, but like got power behind them. Yeah, and just precision, a good recording, and precision playing, and a powerhouse drummer. Like there's a lot of dudes that can play death metal, but like it's easy to do death metal by numbers. You know what I mean? But like a fucking powerhouse drummer that has chops, flavor, that's just that his playing is just as interesting as the rest of the fucking band. So I think
Totally, dude.
you gotta throw a fucking a powerhouse drummer.
Like a Casey
Some
Howard or
style.
something, right?
Style.
Yeah.
Now John Longstreth.
According to Casey, John Longstreth.
Yeah. What about how I like this question? What is the ideal sonic embodiment of what death metal is look or sound like to you? But let's go with the look like, because that's the more interesting.
I don't know. In my head, I
that's-
was always just like the fucking the Pantera, the dudes in the sneakers with long hair and like cut off shorts and just the fucking. That was like what I wanted to embody live. When Anthony was like, "You got down and rocked out live," I was like, "That was like
You really did, dude.
that was one."
But you know what? Now that I know your new metal background from doing this podcast, like you had some new metal moves too, dude.
But that was also
You
how
had the
I
hop. You had the hop, dude.
I did that. My feet were squarely planted. I never did the leg up.
He had cement shoes on.
But yeah, but that's what the music always made me want to move around. Like even when I started raving, I was like, I'll dance. Music just makes me want to fucking move. So like it was just a natural thing. But yeah, I know that like if you can, that's the visual embodiment for me of metal or death metal is just fucking hair flying. I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah.
Totally, totally.
I mean, there was like a visual element just going to like the pound when we were kids. Like and you're trying to figure out your identity, kind of. You're like,
Yeah.
you see that one kid, you're all, damn, dude, those are sick camo shorts, dude. I need those.
If there's one person who like embodies it, I don't know if you guys have seen Aborted before, but Sven from Aborted,
yeah.
he's like it. He's like the embodiment of that.
Yeah.
And then
Definitely.
like Suffocation's what's the EP called that they did?
Human
Despise
Ways.
the Sun.
Despise the Sun. That's
Despise
kind
the
of what it sounds like to me, or
Yeah.
like one of my big like describing it like that.
Yeah, I would have to say Thrones of Blood. I mean, or fucking what's that song off of Destroy the Opposition? Is it Pissing the Mainstream? That dung 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 dung.
Oh yeah.
Dung, dung. Like just that fucking yeah.
Damn.
Just,
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
just that would me like crisp fucking piccolo snare, fucking bright toms, nice chunky riffs, and fucking groove that fucking they like. Maybe even like if you want to throw another band in the mix, I would say Disgorge. Disgorge was the visual element. All those dudes with long hair,
so like just dropping. Yeah.
But also and then then from the other side, the stage. Like if you ever saw a crowd at a Disgorge show, like there was not impossible not to get turned into hamburger and a fucking Disgorge pit. Like there was not one point in a Disgorge show for an hour and a half or however long they played where people were not just fucking each other up, dude. Like that's like even as in any other genre of music, even my electronic music, like I want to make the fucking dance floor turn upside down the way Disgorge or even To Violently Vomit made the dance floor turn upside down. I've only seen that happen in a few other bands, and even then Disgorge just had this energy and this vibe that it was groovy, but it was fucking brutal at the same time. Like it was
dark as fuck. Yeah.
But it was fast, but it was also groovy fast. Like they had this fast groove. And then when they fucking do like those 2.5 bars of chunk, because they'd always like, and then you're like, where'd the chunk go? Like that would just make people like fucking murder each other. But like,
yeah.
Oh yeah. So Disgorge, dude. That's everything. The way they sound, the way they look, and the way they make people feel. That's my answer.
Oh, you get me go pumped. I'm gonna probably go play with Diego again, hopefully next week or something.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
Those guys were cool. We'd always hang out with Ed. He would always come to our shows, The Jumping Turtle. He was another dude that we made friends with back in our coming up days, and we'd pick his brain and he'd give us advice. So I don't know if he's still in Disgorge. But Ed, shout out to Ed because he was a homie.
He'll listen, dude. He's listening to this podcast. Yeah.
Shout out to Ed. Last time I saw you, brother, we were in front of the castle in Disneyland, dude. Kicking it.
That's right.
By the churro stand, dude. Yeah, dude. Watching our kids fucking run around for a second while we talk death metal for like 20 minutes, and then later, brother.
All right. The only other comment was, please ask Chance to freestyle.
Oh shit!
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 You have to give him you have to feed the algorithm, so you have to give him like some topics, like
three words or something. Three concepts.
Well, okay.
Like an airplane,
a chameleon, and
well, what if I okay, but the thing is, this is on a podcast, so if it really sucks, like if I'm at a party, like everyone's gonna forget about it, but like this is gonna be on the internet forever. So if it's like lame,
well, the last time you actually freestyled at a party, Joel put it on the internet, so
and it killed.
Matter.
And it killed.
This got to be a cappella though, because I don't know if I could like beat, but if that'll beat.
No, there'll be a delay.
Will there? Oh man, that's gonna be hard. Okay, what if I do the thing that Casey does? I'll wait a little bit, and then can you just cut it if it sucks?
Yeah, we can. We can do that.
All right,
this could be the potential ending of the episode.
Do you want,
right here.
Do you want me to wrap up
watching.
the podcast right now, just in case?
This is how we're gonna.
I just go to take a breath, and it ends.
Yeah, this is how we close it out. This is how we close out the podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna close it out right now. So
Fuck
if it ends now, sick. We'll be here next week. If not,
yeah.
Chance, you're gonna kill it, bro.
Thanks, dudes, for coming on. It was super fun picking your brains, hearing that story. So fun to just hear. Like, I mean, you're the first band that we brought on that's like more my generation. So it's like I'm more in your guys' headspace when thinking about forming bands, looking up to Decrepit, looking up to Odious. Like, so it's just fun to fucking hear it from another perspective.
Yeah, dude.
There's dozens of us, I swear.
And that's to wrap, just to kind of go in with what I had already said in the beginning a little bit. The reason why you guys are on this in the beginning is because I saw you guys coming up right behind us and really saw the potential in you guys then. And then when you showed me, like, after the amount of time that I had been away, that you really had been doing your work, dude, then it made me pay attention, it made me pay attention. So now I'm a lifelong fan. I'm a lifelong homie. And that's why we wanted you on this shit. Chance, I love you, brother. I'm glad you came on this too. Jared, sick to fucking have you on. And yeah, dude. I mean, we're kind of unscheduled for next week, but don't worry, we'll have somebody.
We got options.
We got options. We're just working out the schedule. That's it. Don't got anybody to announce yet.
If you want to have suggestions or whatever, yeah, let us know.
Totally, yeah.
Exactly.
Actually, do we have a place that people can hit us up?
Yeah,
that we can tell them,
the Instagram or the Facebook page.
Instagram or Facebook page. Okay, cool. Yeah, Cali Death Podcast. Check it out. And sick.
Yeah,
Chance.
Thanks for having us, guys.
All right, Chance.
Yeah, close it out, dude.
Close us out, Chance.
Thanks for having us on. It was an honor too. So here goes nothing. Let me sum it up. Talking about Arkaik coming up. Say, we need a badass drummer. Then you leave the band in that. It's a fucking bummer. And then, I sit down on my knees and say a prayer. Can we get another fucking badass guitar player? And just to say it, we did, because Craig hit us up and then was in our band. And let me tell you, it was hard to understand. Someone with those kind of hands that was like they were on fire. Motherfucker was twisting those screws like he was made of pliers, and we weren't even tired. We kept on running. It was like we was in the army and we was gunning, we was stunning, we was trying to be as good as the people we was in front of. And we would play at the Showcase Theater, like getting chased by a cheetah, but we're a bright purple zebra. They were like, check us out, we're gonna be the future, we're gonna tear open your face and so back up with some sutures, and give it to you. We did it the best that we could. We put it to the test, and we stood in front of the 4-course meal. Said, I want that, I want that, I want that. I'm gonna steal a little bit of that, a little bit of that, a little bit. I'm gonna put it in my riffs, play till I am stiff, and hopefully everyone likes my shit. So then we got signed. It blew our fucking minds, but then we did the same to the people that were listening to the things that we weren't missing. So we put cool shit in the lyrics, did a lot of acid. You could probably fucking hear it. Then we met Summer and we did some demos, tried to be sick from the get-go, but it was kind of lame at first. But then when our bubble was burst, we weren't tame, not the worst. Then we made an album, Reflections Within Dissonance. Yeah, it was so good, made me want to kiss a bitch. Then we did our second album, Metamorphignition, and it was pretty badass if you give it a listen. It had some wild shit going on underneath the covers. It was like fucking all your favorite bitches and making them your lovers. It was a little psychedelic, a little wild, and like childs that just got birthed in to a helmet. I don't know, that didn't rhyme. But after that, I was like, don't want to be a guitar player. I want to do other shit. So you guys find someone else that can shred really legit, but I still want to help write the lyrics. If you read them, you can probably hear it. So I don't fear it when people know that I just changed positions. If you give it a listen, I'm on all the other albums. So there's something there to salvage. So I hope you like what I did. This one's for the kids. I love you. I don't really know you, but you seem pretty legit.
Yeah, motherfucker. That shit ain't getting cut at all.
Not at all. Not even.
Some
of that shit sounded scripted, though. I don't know.
No, it's not, dude.
He actually wrote it before the podcast. Everything he said was totally informed, so he could.
He screened that question.
I did. Well, I have a crystal ball that I look into, and I'm like, they're gonna make me freestyle about everything that I just said.
No, dude, that was great,
Nah,
dude.
I'm obviously kidding. Yeah, that was fucking straight up
amazing,
sick,
dude. It was more than we could ask for, dude. That was awesome.
All right,
way to end this shit, dude. Cali Death Podcast. Well, go for it. Go for it. Yeah.
Wait. So super sick surprise. I couldn't do the podcast without like throwing in this curveball. So I got some sick content to show you guys. So here it comes. Let me see if I can share my screen if I'm allowed to.
Go for it.
Oh god damn it. No, was that you? Oh my god, it was you guys. I knew it was you guys. Because there was oh my god, you guys. You guys have no idea what's happening right now. Oh my god. So this was on my car the other day. This is a magnet they put on my car. I was like, what the fuck? Who the fuck would have done that? I don't. But then a couple days later, it was another like a package I got, and I saw it was on our security system. It was someone from the hospital. So I was like, all right. It's
We've been pranking
Shara.
Joel this whole time, fucking with him, and we put this magnet on his car.
Oh,
so you can't really see, but yeah. So the mystery came out.
Either James Walsh
unfolds, dude.
It was either James Walsh.
There it is, guys.
It was either James Walsh or it was Shara. Is what I thought. Okay, well,
did you leave it on, dude?
No, because I mean, what was that Friday night, or when did you put that on? Thursday? I've been driving with that thing for a while.
Yeah, he was driving around with that on. It was Shara's idea,
I think, right?
Oh, hold on. Where's this mask right here? They gave me this mask. They sent in a package for me too, and I was like, "Who the fuck is taking this time to do all this? Like, I don't get where this is coming from." But I saw someone on the security camera that had a hospital uniform on, and I was like, "I think share a hospital." All right, you cleared it up right now.
Did you wear that mask too? You gotta wear that mask. Now,
you guys got me. Ask Trevor. You actually got me. I was like, dude, what the fuck? I was like tripping out. Like, who's someone mad at me or what's going on? Like you literally got in my head.
Someone mad at me.
You got me. Cheers, man.
Been
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers. All right, guys.
Oh yeah. Well,
All
rock
right, guys.
on, dude.
Have a good night.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Cali Death
fun.
Podcast, episode 5 in the bag, dude. We'll be here next week again.
Guys,
And we will have either one of you guys back on whenever you want, dude. You guys come back and hang out with us anytime you want, dude.
For sure. Yeah. Always.
Hell
down.
yeah. And we'll eventually kick it in person soon too.
Yep.
Most definitely. All right.
Do it.
Peace.
Rock on,
Peace.
everybody.
Later, guys. Peace.